Everywhere I go, I see his face.
Skin color prejudice? That's so pathetic, it's almost quaint.
It ain't quaint. Now, you can either apologize, or I'm gonna show you how intolerant I can be.
Hey, bub, why don't you go fuck yourself?
What? Pro-Antifa YouTubers targeting bounding into comics? That's fucking terrible. That sounds awful, guys. Organized chaos, actual fandom into... Oh, shit. Let's bring this guy on to answer for this. Bob, you wanna explain this? What's going on, man?
Do I get browbeat somebody?
I mean, that's apparently what we're doing. So that's what we do. That's our thing. We browbeat the presence of Christianity in modern media. That's all we do. You know that.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
Hello.
I mean, come on.
Can you explain why we do? Why are we like this, Turf? Why are we fucking like this? We're pro-Antifa YouTubers that we browbeat the presence of modern Christianity in modern media. Why do we do that?
Because we're fucking jealous, man.
That's what it is.
We're jealous of success.
Yep.
We wish we could be like them, and so we do the good old kindergarten tactic of when you have a crush on a girl, you bully them. That's what we're doing.
You know, we want their fans to come look at our channel, and
but maybe we should try just like doing the exact same thing that they do, though. Instead, wouldn't that be a better avenue to?
That's a good idea. Fuck Brie Larson.
Fuck her, you know.
A recent addition to the Marvel Comics canon was with Miles Morales. One of Peter Parker's most harrowing events is Maximum Carnage, where he literally had to throw down with Carnage. Carnage was such a big deal, he needed the help of almost every other character in the Marvel Comics universe to do it. So when Miles went up against Carnage for the first time, you know what we're going to have to do? We're either going to have to make him have more help, which is just going to make him look weak, or we're going to have to make him go against Carnage with less help, which will actually, that's the only way that's going to, be able to sell the story, but also not like, here's the thing, new phrase, isoming. We're not going to ice him, the damn character, by making him look like trash in his first outing. That's trademark now. Can I trademark that?
You have to talk to Good Shepherd Ministries, I think, is the thing.
Oh!
The only way that you can really stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying? Fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Can you hear me? Hello? Hey, 3 of you watching. Hell yeah. I guess only 3 of you are concerned about the severe nature of what the New York Times is up to. But y'all don't even know that we're talking about that because I didn't put it in the headline. Never mind. But we're talking about a couple of things. Hey, we got a couple more people there. There we go. Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, you guys, I hope you're doing all right. I'm doing okay. I was thinking about modern audiences that phrase. It's a critical drinker thing, I think he uses it, but I've seen it in other places too. I don't know, chicken or egg kind of thing, which one's first, but what a stupid phrase. Because like what they're like, oh, they're making it for modern audiences. Well, who the fuck else were they going to make it for? Audiences of 1932? You know, I don't know. Let's ask Morgan.
Yeah, it's the weird time traveler segment. They're actually really interested in future audiences.
Oh.
Yeah. Then again, it's just kind of like writing for syndication, isn't it? Like you're not writing for today's audience. You're writing to sell your whole show in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a kind of a bit of a like an underhanded secondary function of that phrase of like, you know, it's saying that like, oh, modern audiences are just like they're all demanding and everything is woke and they want everything to be just right or whatever. But also, it kind of implies that like in future audiences, they won't care about these pronouns and trans people and, you know, race issues. Like, you know what I mean?
It
Like,
seems very ahistorical.
Yeah.
Just because like audiences get more demanding over time. Like,
yeah, they do.
Just think of the amount of like classic movies that nowadays are seen as kind of schlocky, right? Like even like taking potentially problematic elements aside, right? 'Cause that's a whole other discussion, but just like cheesy special effects or some old school, you know, filming techniques where it's not modern, right? Like people watch it now and are like, oh, I don't like it because it's older, you know, the graphics aren't as polished. And even for like TV shows and stuff, you hear like people say, oh, the effects in that TV show suck. It's like, what's a fucking TV show?
Right.
So like
Well,
audiences get more critical over time. So I don't know what they're talking about. It just seems,
you know, I bet there wasn't a whole lot of people that were just like back in like the 50s or whenever the hell it was, being like, oh great, another episode where Timmy's lost in the fucking well. And Lassie's coming. Oh, let me guess, Lassie's gonna fucking save him. This is so formulaic. This is filler. You know,
just look at like the 60s Batman TV show, right? Like huge fucking hit, schlocky as hell. Just pure camp. But like it's just like audiences enjoyed that back then, and while I enjoy it for what it is, right? Like it's as a modern viewer, quote unquote, it's whatever. It's, you know, nothing novel.
Well, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people who, you know, bandy about that phrase, oh, modern audiences or whatever, I bet a lot of them, or at least a lot of the people that were at CPAC also use that phrase unironically.
They hate a lot of modern things at the cranky politics action.
Cranky pricks.
The Pranky Cricks Action Commission.
Yeah, so I've got a
or convention. I don't fucking know. It's I even looked it up and I put action conference.
Conservative political action. It's conservative pricks anal conference. You know, where they all kind of get in touch with that urge. Anyway,
well, I mean, speaking about that, I have a funny aside about that. That's amusingly related.
You want a raw tough guy? Then take it raw.
I was reading about them on Wikipedia a while ago, and I saw this fun fact that in 2010, so 14 years ago, the convention was sponsored by Geo Proud, which is a now defunct gay conservative group. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Can you imagine if the like conservative movement of our year, you know, in our year of the Dark Lord of the Sith 2020 were to show up to that convention with the sponsored by, you know, Geo Proud?
Well, I know that like allegedly the log cabin Republicans still exist. I can't imagine that they like are very satisfied with much that's going on, or maybe they are. Maybe they just say, hey, as long as we don't, we're the good ones,
Right. I'm
Um,
sure it's it's Quislings Anonymous.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, that's probably where like a lot of the like anti-trans, anti-bi, conservative gays hang out, because there are conservative gays. It's a thing.
What?
They aren't very bright. Well, and some of them are bright in like their area of expertise, but like
they're just very selfish.
they don't understand that they get the wall too. Like,
yeah, naive to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of naivete in thinking that their money will protect them. And my message to them is, you get the wall right after I do.
Well, they're probably thinking, look, you may not like conservative politics. It's fine. But look, we are still a democracy, right? That's probably what they're thinking.
I imagine so, right?
Well,
right. Is CPAC really like anti-democracy now? Actually, I know a lot of conservative Latinos PR.
Yeah, especially there's a lot of Cuban conservatives in Florida.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, as far as being anti-democracy, there's one guy in particular that was at CPAC who just maybe, I don't know, I haven't watched this yet. I've just been told that this is what he says. Maybe people are misunderstanding. Let's check it out.
Let's see what the word.
Welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here.
What is it? His fist? He's gonna fist people?
He's gonna fist democracy, I guess.
We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
That guy wants to get fisted for sure. Oh, that's Steve Bannon said that.
Steve Bannon loves getting fisted. That's what I hear.
Honestly, I would not be surprised. Like, I remember reading an article about that guy years ago, and like his personal life is some kind of crazy shit. At least it was then. Like, there was something about like the possibility that he had actually been involved with some seemingly like a murder where someone had been dissolved in acid in his hot tub.
Jesus, what the fuck?
I don't remember the details, so please don't hold me to, but I remember there was something around that like, yeah, you keep saying that. I'm wondering what that reference is, Dean. Do you think I stink? I don't. I just took a shower. Yeah, let me find something. Let me find that actually, because that's it. A little bit.
Yeah. All right. We gotta. Okay. You look that up.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll talk to our fine chat folks. This day was coming. I think that the last 4.5 years, there has been a product among the, let's call them thought leaders and the movers and shakers in the conservative movement, that the time for pussyfooting around is over and we just need to fucking undo democracy.
Yeah.
And that seems to be where the money is at in the conservative movement. All right, then.
So Washington Post reported a story. This is 2017. So right after Trump took office, really. Investigating counselor of the president, Steve Bannon's legal residence, since no one really knows where he lives. But in the course of that investigation, they uncovered something that is even more disturbing. A hot tub at a house where Bannon claimed to live looked like it was filled with acid. The Post started looking into Bannon because while he claimed residency in Florida, he was spending most of his time in Washington, D.C., but his address was listed as his business manager's office in California. In fact, prosecutors in Miami have opened an investigation into Bannon's claims to be a Florida resident. Anyway, the theory is, I don't care about where he lives. I just want to know about the acid thing. And then this shit gets weird. The Post in the February 2015 email from Bannon's former landlord that read, entire jacuzzi bathtub seems to have been covered in acid. What?
What the fuck?
Landlord also noticed that padlocks have been installed on interior doors. Creepy. Yeah. I agree with that commentary, that editorializing. While other doors were totally removed. Also creepy.
That's very strange. Very. Why are you putting padlocks on the interior doors? Are you Is this a sex dungeon?
Maybe. I'm out of town, Bannon responded, a likely story. Is there any way you can talk with Diane and sort things out? It leads to a disturbing question I never thought to ask. What happened in Stephen C. Bannon's hot tub? Was it a hot tub party gone awry? Was someone getting rid of a body, Breaking Bad style? That's what I remember. I remember reading, I guess, that like planted that idea in my head. I don't think
Oh,
there was
okay,
actually
all right. So no, there was no actual like proof that he was dissolving bodies.
Right. Yeah. The casual cub. Slightly unrelated, your podcast member Eric Debunks is growing like crazy. I keep up with all the channels, and he has gained over 500 subs in less than 3 weeks. It's insane. It's actually, honestly, it is sane.
It's cool. He should get fun. Yeah, that's very sane.
Everything else that's on YouTube generally is pretty fucking insane. It's actually a shot of sanity in the YouTube that he's finally getting the attention he deserves.
And he deserves it. He's great.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I got you. Sorry for being a bad Watchmen, fan, I guess.
Got it. Yeah. I am not the biggest. This is probably one of those, like, I'm going to get my geek card revoked things. I kind of think Alan Moore's a little overrated.
He can, yeah. I mean, like, I agree.
He's got some good fucking classic works out there, but like,
I mean, look, it's a lot about context of like what was coming out at the time that he was putting out his best work, right? Like, when you're looking at the 80s, the output in the 80s from Marvel and DC or whatever, and there's probably before things got a little darker, which he was responsible for partly.
Yeah.
There was a lot of kind of corny ass shit, and then you got this guy who puts out this, some books, some stories where it's like he's taking the shit very seriously and he's being very mature. I can imagine that I would be like, holy shit, this is everything. You know what I mean? Like if I was that age back then. And
yeah, and I like part of that might be that like Seinfeld isn't funny and that like he did so much to inspire other people then who went on to build off his style.
Yeah, like if like let's say Jonathan Hickman said he was massively inspired by Alan Moore, then yeah, Alan Moore deserves a lot of respect.
But
got my
like,
Hickman in for today.
I'm not with PR as far as League being meh, but like League is mixed. Some of the League graphic novels are fantastic, and some of them are not great. We'll just put it that way.
As much shit as Alan Moore talks on everything, I think we can, say that like, there's some stuff we don't love, right?
Yeah, like my favorite Alan Moore thing is I'm pretty sure he is the writer who introduced the Green Lantern who is blind and does all of his stuff with sound.
Okay, so I've never read much of League. I do have 2 graphic novels of it, but I haven't read them. From Hell, I've read some of. It's very good from what I've read.
Read that one.
V for Vendetta is fucking phenomenal.
It's very good.
That's the one that takes it over the top for me as far as like, okay, because Watchmen, I can see someone not being impressed with it. It's dense, and sometimes you're in the middle of it and you're like, what is the point of this right now?
It's got all of like the, what are they called? The other comics in the comic, like the meta comics.
Yeah, the pirate story. But like, and when you're reading it, it's like, what the fuck is the point of this? And then you don't really, get until you finish it and look back on it, do you kind of start to put it together? It's like a complete picture. So yeah, the reading experience for the first time can be a little rough.
It's a little jarring.
But then that's exactly how it was for me. And I read it and I had some hard times getting through it, but then at the end, basically, I was just like, fucking, oh my God. Like, and then in context, in, retrospect, hindsight, it really blew my mind. Miracle Man. I haven't read his Miracle Man. I've heard it's good.
I read some of it because it was a number of years ago, there was a reprinting of it. And so I checked some of it out, and it's like Alan Moore's take on Captain Marvel and the Shazam mythos.
Yeah,
it's very good.
I mean, look, once again, we were talking about subjective things here, but like some people might connect with these things a lot more than we do or something. Anyway, but yeah, I agree with you generally, PR, that like pretty much every writer has something where somebody's going to be like, it's not what I was wanting out of them.
Yeah, Gary Dugan's Guardians run was.
Yep.
Well, my opinion is that there hasn't been a good Guardians run since Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, but that's
Damn. I mean,
that's my hot take.
You might not be wrong, man. Like I haven't read a lot of the runs by different, but I know that Bendis's wasn't it.
No, Bendis's was.
Yeah.
Duggan's was fine.
Yep. Generally pretty fine.
Generally fine, but like that Dan Abnett, Andy Lanning, and like I'm a little biased because I came to Guardians because they were writing it.
And I see. I came to it after I had already been. I was all in on Annihilation as it was happening, and then I was post Annihilation, and then Annihilation Conquest.
Yep.
It's like, oh my god, the sequel, and that's where you'd already met like Star-Lord and stuff, although very different character from what we know.
Right. Oh yeah, the comic Star-Lord, especially then, was nothing like the MCU Star-Lord. They are different characters.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say that he basically in Guardians 3 he becomes much more like the one that that we know from the earlier from the comics. He's less of a less jokey, gets more serious. He's got a weight on him, what I mean? But
yeah,
okay. Al Ewing's shit was pretty good. Like his fucking was it Marvel Boy? Like I just will always remember that. It's also one of the pages that Chuds like to fucking share around, like, look how terrible this is, but it's an amazing page where Marvel Boy is like, here's my pronouns, I fucking leak acid from my fingertips and all this crazy shit. And he's just like
because he's a Kree insect hybrid.
Yeah.
And I think he's pan or bi. But that's like an old ass, like that was back from like Dark Avengers.
Holy shit, you're not even fucking speaking like that's not even a lie, dude. Fucking
you're...
X-Men Red, the way that he has characterized Storm in X-Men Red has been fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. I think like the only problem I have with X-Men Red is that it is whatever comic I read after reading that issue of X-Men Red is just like such a step down. It's like, God, why can't this be as good as X-Men Red?
And I would say that, I'd like to see more done with some of those characters that they introduced, the Rocco characters.
They make mutants weird again. So every so often you get a really like cool weird mutant, but like everyone from Morocco is just fucking. It takes it to a whole different level.
Yeah,
I fucking love it.
It gives you that whole like we're so like jaded to mutants and mutant powers and stuff now, but then like these mutants are like whoa, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, is that a baby riding an eyeball? What the hell?
That is a baby riding an eyeball who then gets eaten by a bug person.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking crazy. It's fucking good.
Well, I mean, I guess not really a solo book, but the Resurrection of Magneto has been pretty damn good so far. Like this recent issue was fucking heavy. Oh, it's good. Emotional stuff, man.
It's my favorite. I think it's my favorite Fall of the House of X book.
Yeah.
I think that is firmly where I have settled, is like that's where it's at.
Yes. And we were just talking about that in because I just read Deceased War of the Undead Gods, which is allegedly the final chapter of the whole Deceased saga.
I saw you going off on how good that was in Discord, and when that started, I'm like, oh great, it's like DC's Marvel Zombies, but
it is so much more than like Tom Taylor knows how to it's like it may have been like pitched as that or something, but like when Tom Taylor gets a hold of it, he's like he elevates the shit out of it. And it like by the end of I was all weepy and shit. It has a big damn hero moment for Damian Batman. Big damn hero moment for Alfred. Like spoiler alert, but oh my god, look, this is just Eric July with the fucking sock account. We're not going to talk about you today, man. This is not even the show where we talk about Eric July.
Yeah, that's the Wednesday show. Like I don't really care about Eric July. Sorry, bro.
Wait, I think this might actually be somebody who's making fun of him. Cope and see that his warehouse is about to be full of other people's comic books. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you're pulling us, I give you 1 point. Spend it wisely.
Anyway, and yeah, DC's is so fucking good. Like, I mean, it's not like the best thing ever or anything, but like for what it is, it's kind of just a perfect mix of popcorn and with a good amount of emotional resonance. You know what I mean? Popcorn entertainment with some character shit. That's what Tom Taylor's great at. I was talking about that in the server. They're just like, you know, he's known for the post-apocalyptic, you know, Elseworlds shit, but what he does within that, like Dark Ages, is very good. I wish there could be kind of more done in that world, but whatever. He manages to, he writes about hope and optimism and stuff like that without seeming like corny, right?
That's always fun. That's a hard line to walk too.
I know we're gonna get really angry when it destroys everything, and the protractors are gonna be
the protractors. Okay, well
points,
done.
Man. Points. He seems to be a friend, unless he's just Eric July that's like taking some shit out on himself.
Either way, man.
Hey, young Grippa Slippa, I think we're going to be talking about Eric on Wednesday, maybe. I think DJ has some stuff to say. He's been, you know, paying attention and some things, you know, yeah. Anyway, so let's check out this kind of low light reel from CPAC.
The low light. All right,
and this is from the fine Republicans apparently at Lincoln Project, who in, you know, strange bedfellows, right?
Right. Well, I want to talk about Lincoln Project broadly after this, but let's see what they got to say.
Welcome you to the most dangerous speech to democracy in the world.
CPAC 2024, where globalism goes to die.
It feels like I'm the only one here not.
What is globalism?
Do you want my answer or their answer?
Well, I mean, your answer, yeah.
All right. Well, my answer would be the interconnected system of communication and trade that has now spans the globe, as nations and peoples are able to trade and share information across the world through our shipping systems and our internet.
So kind of just like an inevitable thing that has already been happening slowly, continuously, essentially since after World War II.
Even before World War II.
Yeah.
I would say since like I would say since the telegraph. Since intercontinental telegraph lines were laid down,
but now with like the internet and everything, it's just like it's done. It is it's not something that can be undone without like an EMP or something.
And even then, yeah, like that's here to stay.
That's kind of what I figured it was. That's how I saw it. It just seemed like another thing where it's like you're really against this thing that is just kind of the way things are and were inevitable going to be, and like you probably were born after it was too late to stop it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Well, once again, it is conservatives hate Dwight Eisenhower, who is responsible for a lot of the infrastructure that is the basis for our modern system of transportation and communication.
We'll probably get into a little bit of this whenever we do. We got a series we're going to be announcing here in a minute. So we'll announce that once this is done here, and this is going to be pretty cool or awful, but let's continue here.
Running for vice president.
They'd much rather see Biden as president, and I agree with them.
Turn off the cameras now. I'm going to talk about machines.
The current president, Joe Biden, is
allegedly
putting our heads in the gas stove because that implies suicide.
I hate to be partisan.
Cut the nads off the campaign.
Don't misgender the campaign.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they suck.
It's no surprise to me that Mike Pence is against.
I was trying so hard not to do that.
Hey, Beavis.
Hey, Beavis, do you want to allegedly do some child sexual assault?
Yeah. Hey, Beavis, do you want to travel across state lines with an underage minor?
Yep. Want to traffic children with me?
They're particularly popular. The possibility that they parachute in Michelle Obama.
A lot of these people are going to go to jail when Donald Trump gets elected.
Why are they so scared of her?
They are like, I had to work with my dad for like fucking 10 years that like, no, Michelle Obama is not going to run for office. Yeah. Michelle Obama that's not her, like her area of expertise or concern. She doesn't care. They just pulled that idea out of nowhere. And I think finally, after a decade, I have convinced my dad that, like, no, Michelle Obama is not going to run for president.
You know, it really, there's like, it's kind of a lot of their bigotry, you know, kind of intersectional kind of thing, right?
Right.
They hate women, they hate black people, they hate black women, and they hate black people and black women who are successful, smart, fucking confident. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also probably to some of them, to some degree, they also want a banger.
Oh, I'm sure. But also that's why they have to like transvestigate her and claim that she's actually a trans man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pavement is graduating from Harvard and staying a conservative.
They
All right,
say
pause.
that we're racist.
Do you know how like that's just a myth, right? Like Harvard shits out fucking tons of conservatives because it's fucking their enrollment is a lot of fucking nepo babies that like they're there because their parents wrote a big fucking check.
They might have a lot of people that kind of become superficially more liberal while they're there. But at the end of the day, you know,
when they complain about Harvard, it's because really what they want is to make Harvard more racist than it already is and more exclusive than it already is because it's about consolidating power.
Indeed it is. If they can't co-opt as already established institution, they're going to create their own you know, kind of that, or and then also do their whole parallel bullshit.
Right. Their Liberty University thing.
What you talking about, Fannie Willis?
If I could just punch Joe Biden, I would do it.
Why are you ruining cat fights for us? Well, what about Hillary? I mean,
Oh my God.
I just want our military to be G.I. Joe again.
Because if you come like you just talked about to our house, you better bring a coroner with you.
Look, if our military was G.I. Joe, that'd be kind of cool because we would have like
it'd be like diverse and multi-tactic and would have like an incredibly low casualty to fatality rate wherein like they somehow disable all of the enemy but none of them die.
Right.
Like
they would constantly stop terrorism without actually killing terrorists.
Right.
And they look, there's a lot of individuality in there too, and that's what I would like to see injected in the military. You can just basically just pick a theme for yourself. You probably have to get it approved through the higher ups or something.
Right,
like,
sure. But like they don't even like we want to make it like G.I. Joe and like if they watch G.I. Joe, they go, oh no, it's fucking woke. When did they make G.I. Joe woke? They use the time machine dryer to make it woke.
But there would be some of them would be like, okay, it's really woke, but have you seen those vehicles? Holy shit.
They're so cool.
There's some really cool vehicles, man.
That sounds like a cool Fallout mod, Patriot Gamer. I would like to actually check that out because I fucking love. Yeah, I'm the trans stereotype. I fucking love New Vegas.
Oh, I didn't know that was a stereotype.
It's apparently a stereotype. I found out. It's like, oh no, I've loved New Vegas since I was, in my fucking 20s.
What's up with these people that want to show up to the Papcast? They don't know what the Papcast is. And they're just like, you should talk about this specific thing that I'm fixated on. No, don't want to.
If I make my own channel, then I'll talk about Fallout New Vegas.
Tell you what, Patriot Gamer, go to patreon.com/actualfandom and you become a second tier patron. I think it's dope as fuck. I think that's then I'll talk about it. Sure. I'll be looking for that email notification. No? Okay. Well,
all right.
Fine.
Okay. Good.
Congress even matter?
My father.
Does Congress even matter? Oh, so it's a fucking bot. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Shadow Realm.
For passing by a whale on a jet ski. Obama must be prosecuted.
What?
For what? For what?
I feel like this line is. I mean, I know he said it before. Maybe that's why.
He said it before. This has been his theme for the last 9 months. Is that the Trump campaign? This time the theme is revenge.
Yeah, Cool, man. Cool shit. Oh. Yeah. It's literal fucking supervillain shit. Except he's more like a stupid villain.
He's something.
All right. Look at this fucking guy. I got some pictures of Trump that I thought were interesting. I'm gonna pull one of those up right now.
All right, sure. Like, I love that he's like his eyes are fucking closed. I know, like, you can make someone look stupid by pausing on a video. It's not hard. It's not hard.
You know, like, why does he look like that? I don't know.
Well, what you can't see is behind the camera is Putin with his pants down.
Yep.
He's ready to receive the Russian bear.
Or he's just right. He's right in front of him, and he's about to.
Yeah.
Give him the old yill. So there's that one. Let's see. Oh, okay. And there's this one too. This was a good picture of Trump. I think it's good. Very good.
That's Trump?
Yeah. That's Trump.
Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so is this one. Hold on.
What the fuck? Yep. That one looks more like Trump, but like.
I mean, so I'm sorry. It's the thing I do. It's like my way of doing like a political cartoon, I guess, or something where I like when I'm really kind of frustrated about some political fucking person, I will take a photo and just like find a way. And I've gotten a lot better at it, I think, where I like take the elements of his face and head and just like make them bigger and weird sizes and shit.
Like it's gross, but
hey,
I get it.
Hey, I'm Trump. Hey.
Fucking eyes going everywhere. Like I feel, yeah. You know what? All right. That
looks like Big Van Dyke. Yeah,
it's like his evil twin.
You know, and I'll pull it up in a second but it's not really applicable anymore. But I did a really good one that was like a half Trump, half DeSantis. It was like a DeTrumptis, I think I called it.
DeTrumptis. Gee, that is nightmare fuel. That will haunt my dreams should I have them.
All right, so here we go.
When you see the little D on the ballot, that's the Diablo.
Like I go to the polling place and vote for myself and I win the minority vote.
Biden wants to take over and
Pause.
Have no fury like a
Biden wants to take over, which is why like he's alienated swaths of his base, has the rest of them going, come on, dude, stop it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's starting to get a little spicy with Israel a little bit here and there, you know?
Yeah, but I also think that like he's still pushing this immigration deal. And I'm just like, okay, so if the plan was to like make the GOP turn it down, they've already done that. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
Like you tried to give them everything they wanted and they went no for political, because we want political points. Mission accomplished. Roll out the banner and go the fuck home. And that is horrendous.
Yeah.
It's monstrous.
It's kind of like I was like, what if DeSantis was wearing Trump's face skin, maybe? But
Okay, but if Trump dies in office, they will absolutely try to make a Trump suit and like put DeSantis in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Regal is right. Going after Obama is like, yeah, for the drone strikes, maybe. Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, they can't. Of course, they can't go after him for things that are like actually fucking fucked up.
Right, fucked up war crimes. Yeah.
But this image is a war crime for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wait. There's one more I want to show.
Oh no.
This is just my DeSantis. This is the first time that I really did one of these, and I was like, hey, this is fun. And it can kind of be a little weird. It makes me laugh.
Why is he like bleeding from the side of his nose?
So that is actually just a mole on his face, but that I just blew up so big that it looks like it's like some kind of wound or something. And it actually looks like it has like a head there, like a big zit or some shit. But and a couple of variants I made just to kind of mess with the brow a bit, and then big brow. Okay, sorry, we're done derailing the stream with my stupid shit now. Back to their
I'm
stupid
gonna
shit.
have nightmares, folks. Dane's gonna have to pay for my mental health care.
Lucifer says the immigration bill is so fucking funny because they could have played that in a look how successful we were, even when the Dems are in power and we should know them. But no, the reason they didn't is because Trump told them not to.
Right.
Because I mean, look, he's right too. Technically, he's like, if you fucking pass this immigration thing, that's actually really it's kind of a hardcore immigration bill.
I fucking hate it.
They would make a bunch of fucking middle of the road people be like, oh, Biden finally did something about immigration.
Right. Yeah. Like they couldn't concede the point to him so hard that when he gave them everything they wanted, they went, nah.
Just goes to show they don't actually care even about that issue
Right.
that they fucking, they're constantly beating their chests over. They don't give a shit.
But if I were Biden, I would just be like, you had your shot. You told me you're not going to do it until Trump is president. I would just play those clips over and over and over again in campaign ads. And then just like, well, the Republicans didn't care about it. All they do is talk. They don't want to do anything about it. We're moving on. We have other things that need to be taken care of domestically and abroad. We need to fund Ukraine abroad. We need to force a ceasefire on Israel and to browbeat them into that.
Yeah. Beat their brows.
And domestically, we need to use the levers of the executive branch to fucking put the kibosh on I think we're at hundreds of anti-trans bills that have been submitted in state legislatures this year.
Yeah.
And we're 2 months and 3 days in.
Yeah. And they actually care about none of it.
No, none. Right. But like, Biden, needs to be like, okay, well, you want funding for this stuff. We have the levers to say, via executive action or department directive to go, well, they're not meeting, Title IX requirements. So we're going to withhold certain resources from them. Tough shit.
Mm-hmm.
You need to play hardball with these people because they will fold. Because every time a Democrat has a spine for 7 seconds, the Republicans freak the fuck out and they fold.
Yeah,
and you've seen that here in Wisconsin with Tony Evers, where they were like, so we elected Janet Protasiewicz to our Supreme Court and this gave the liberals a majority on the court to undo our gerrymandering. And for a year, the Republicans are like, we're going to impeach her. We're going to do all this stuff. And when it came down to it, Evers, once he got the court ruling, says it's got to be fixed. He said, here's the maps I want. And he would not pass a map until the Republicans signed it. And they signed it. So all we've seen this in Minnesota and Michigan and lots of like purple states, that get like a Democrat in power somewhere, that they will, if they just stick to their guns, the Republicans break. Because at the end of the day, like, all they are is talk. And if you give them what they want, then they have to talk about something else. Where if you say, no, this is where we're going, fucking deal with it, they fold.
Yep. And I have something I can read a bit. I want to read a bit from once we transition topics here in a bit, because we are doing 2 topics, by the way. So we're going to be talking about this weird campaign that the New York Times is undertaking after we get done talking about CPAC. It's kind of crazy.
It's a little weird.
It's a little weird, a little creepy once you see it in context of itself. But yeah, let's finish this up. It's maybe 20-30 seconds left.
Sure.
Gay man scorned by the Democrat Party.
Joe Biden
God, fucking identity politics.
can call us birthing people and chest feeders all he wants.
He does not call anyone that.
Look at this guy's face. I didn't even do anything to that one. That's just what he looks like.
What's a woke doctor?
I mean, one that bases things on, not being a piece of shit. I don't know. Yeah. One that's like, a black person comes into the emergency room and he's not like, oh, okay, you're going to force diversity in the emergency room now. That's what they want. I don't know.
Yeah, woke doctor is one that's not asleep on the job. I agree.
Yeah. I just looked at this guy. These are, I'm sorry, look, there are a lot of fucking ugly, chud-like, homunculus, fucking Neanderthal, fucking, weird chromosome, fucking malformed fucking people in the Republican Party. There just are. Okay.
I think what it is, I think you can, be even simpler than that. Evil's hard living. It just fucks you up, Ian. It just fucks up how you look, how you act, right? You can't live that way and live so full of hate and fear, or as someone who makes your bones on pushing hate and fear without just fucking shriveling.
And I saw a clip recently where Tim Pool was like, liberals, they can have a meltdown if they want to, but there's a study that shows that conservatives are just more attractive. It's like,
you know what? I'm going to cite a counterexample. Tim Pool.
Yeah. Well, he's not a conservative though. He's a disaffected liberal.
If you believe that, I've got some swampland to sell you.
It's a witch doctor, but turns you trans. That's what a
hot. I'm here for.
What about a trans doctor that turns you into a witch? I'd be down with that.
I would also be down with that. What the fuck?
All right. Yeah. No. He's
drunk from the
no
wrong
kidding.
Grail.
He is fucking. It is actually kind of disturbing whenever you look at it just a few years ago to what he looks like now. It's like, oh my god. All right.
All right, hit it.
Doctors
cancel the Bible.
Wokenized.
Wokeism, transgenderism, climatism, COVIDism, globalism, Zelenskyism. Media, I want you to suck on this.
And we got a ¡1 alpha man in Donald
God.
Trump.
He's raping the flag again, man. Like
he's fucking molesting that flag.
There's going to be a lawsuit about that now. Crazy, man. Crazy.
He's gonna owe E. Jean Carroll and that flag, $80 million a piece.
Yep. Oh god.
All right. So I want to talk about the Lincoln Project for a second while we got them pulled up here. Can you imagine being the Lincoln Project? Because their whole thing is they don't want a more liberal or more progressive or more left-wing America. They just want their nostalgic version of what Reaganism was.
Yeah.
That's what they want. Where there is some appeal to integrity and positive politics and improving things. Never mind that what Reagan said and what Reagan did were not exactly related. That guy talked out of both sides of his mouth. And
it's like when they could, the politicians could go to lunch with somebody from the other side of the aisle,
right.
And they were actually buddies and stuff. They all hate each other now. They can't be seen with each other for sure. But there was a friendly sportsmanship thing to playing with people's lives back then.
Right. That's what they want. And so while I am glad that they are anti-CPAC, I am glad that they are willing to make fun of what the conservative movement is. I also don't think they make they also don't do any convincing arguments. They don't really do a good job of convincing conservatives to vote a different way or to push their party away from what it is. They just sort of absorb funding dollars and make memes. And they're not really effective at anything besides that. But I appreciate a good meme, but I don't need a think tank to do it for me.
So did want to shout out this video that honestly, it's kind of silly for a channel our size to shout this out, but Dead Domain doing some excellent work, some real fucking journalism over here.
Yeah. They're doing the good shit.
Trans person infiltrates CPAC part 1, and it's a banger. An hour and a half of just they go through their methodology of how they came to this, and it's the second time they've done something like this on their channel. Where the first time they went into this hate church, undercover, and yeah, like I mean, it's kind of pretty impressive to be honest. Like,
yeah,
legit went and got dressed up and looking like a legit fucking a Trumper,
right?
A maggot.
Like, yeah, and like the dude broest. Okay, so like I have a trans observation on this one.
A transformation.
Okay. Yes. That like they're and I get that like they're trans.
Uh-huh.
And so like I can see it with the costume on, but I'm like, that is the fucking eggiest looking, conservative I have ever. I'd be like, if I saw that person in public, I'm like, what you need is estrogen. If I saw that guy, I'd be like, hold on, we got to talk about estrogen right now.
So I mean, that's what they look like. Actually very attractive. And then and you see the
costume here. Oh, there's a good shot of the costume. That's the costume. And I'd be like, if I saw that person IRL, I'd be like, you know what HRT is? We got to talk about HRT. Quick.
And then the shirt, they got this awesome shirt that, I mean, it's awesome in the context of them wearing it.
It is certainly something.
Otherwise, it would just be really cringe and stupid, but them wearing it is fucking extra great.
Right.
Because it says, I identify as non-binary.
Right. It has a picture of a gun on it.
Yeah, for some reason. A lot of Steve Bannon there at CPAC. He was kind of the central figure.
The transvestigating at CPAC was failing because this trans person was fucking there.
Well, because, and I don't want to paint an image of the conservative movement or allude to anything that's might or might not happen in November or anything, but it seems like this is like one of the fucking thinnest CPACs in quite some time.
That's the one thing that they were saying that was, I think, the most interesting to me is that it was not, like they said, at most it was half full, but often less than that.
And it like, and then we saw the highlight of all the people that were talking. It's like, yeah, a few people we recognize, we know who they are and whatnot, but it's not like they had. You think about CPAC when Trump was in office, or like the last year. I remember that was the one where what's her name went out there and acted all crazy, and Don Jr. was like all coked up and stuff. Like there was just an energy to it, and there were a lot of motherfuckers there too. I don't know. I don't want to like hang any hopes on this, but it kind of did make me start to think like, is there more of, because they're definitely in full force online.
Oh yeah, they are. But I think a lot of that is, you can't trust that online, right? Like, because it is so easy as far as botting and sock puppet accounts and all of that stuff, that like it's easy to fake a vocal movement.
It's been clear since Trump was inaugurated, basically. That was the moment that like, oh, there's not really as many people here as you would have thought at the inauguration, and like ever since then it's pretty clear there's a fucking lot of astroturfing going on, a lot of like botting and like you're saying, and
gaslighting.
Doesn't mean that there's not a lot of people that want to fucking vote for Trump. There are.
Well, and there's also a lot of states that have since 2020 made it harder to vote. They've closed polling places. They've put more restrictions on absentee voting. They've tightened up voter ID laws, which don't actually do anything but discourage people from voting, including a lot of conservatives, interestingly enough.
Yeah, they kind of fucked themselves with that whole, mail voting is bad. And it's like,
your voter base is over 50.
And look, and I'm in Oregon. They've had mail-in voting for 20 plus years now, and the incidents of voter fraud are like vanishingly few.
Yeah,
like it is almost unheard of.
So I like.
Well,
I
got this thing from a kind of a good transition here is a New York Times article that, even though we are about to get in, we're about to get into criticizing the shit out of New York Times.
Oh, we're gonna go off on, if you're a big New York Times fan, clench.
However, sometimes they do have articles that are valuable, or have some valuable nuggets of something to learn, or context or whatever.
Yeah.
This one's a bit libby, but I think it's still pretty solid. So
now I'm just imagining it being written by a woman named Libby. I'm so sorry.
Karen Libby is her name. So this is just an article. I don't even know who it was by because I copied and pasted it, so I didn't have to pay for it.
Respect.
Yeah. Fuck. No way am I gonna fucking pay for New York Times. Okay. So the greatest threat to our democracy today is a Republican Party that plays dirty to win. And this is a couple of years old. So it's definitely gotten worse. They've gotten way worse with playing dirty, right?
And also the New York Times has gotten way worse at covering it.
Yeah. So the party's abandonment of fair play was showcased spectacularly in 2016 when the United States Senate refused to allow President Barack Obama to fill Supreme Court vacancy created by Justice Antonin Scalia's death in February. While technically constitutional, the act, in effect, stealing a court seat, hadn't been tried since the 19th century. It would be bad enough on its own, but the Merrick Garland affair is part of a broader pattern. Republicans across the country seem to have embraced any means necessary strategy to preserve their power. After losing the governorship in North Carolina in 2016 and Wisconsin in 2018, Republicans used lame duck legislative sessions to push through a flurry of bills stripping power from incoming Democratic governors. Last year, when the Pennsylvania Supreme Court struck down a Republican gerrymandering initiative, conservative legislators attempted to impeach the justices. And back in North Carolina, Republican legislators used a surprise vote last week on September 11th to ram through an override of Governor Roy Cooper's budget veto, while most Democrats had been told no vote would be held. This is a classic constitutional hardball behavior that, while technically legal, uses the letter of the law to subvert its spirit. Let me get to the good shit. Okay. So constitutional hardball has accelerated under the Trump administration. Trump's declaration of a national emergency to divert public money toward a border wall, openly flouting Congress, which voted against building a wall, is a clear example. And the Supreme Court's conservative majority, manufactured by an earlier act of hardball, may uphold the constitutionality of the president's autocratic behavior. This type of thing can damage and even destroy democracy. Democratic institutions function only when power is exercised with restraint. When parties abandon the spirit of the law and seek to win by any means necessary, politics often descends into institutional warfare, which we have seen. That's definitely been the case. Governments in Hungary and Turkey have used court packing and other legal maneuvers to lock in power and ensure that subsequent abuse is ruled constitutional. And when one party engages in constitutional hardball, the rivals often feel compelled to respond in a tit-for-tat fashion, triggering an escalating conflict that is difficult to undo. As the collapse of democracy is in Germany and Spain in the 1930s and Chile in the 1970s makes clear, these escalating conflicts can end in tragedy. Wait, what happened in Germany in the 1930s? Oh, or Spain? I don't know. Anyway,
I heard it was fire.
Oh, okay. So why is the Republican Party playing dirty? Republican leaders are not driven by an intrinsic or ideological contempt for democracy. Believe it or not, that's what this person says. I don't know. Who knows?
Man, disagree.
I mean, Posobiec definitely is. At least him. I think it's maybe become that, maybe for a lot of them. You know what I mean? Like it started off as this and then became more that.
I think no.
No? Okay.
I think that going back to, it's hard to pick an exact moment, but I would say at the one I would point to the most is the election of Barack Obama, where they're like, this system lets a black man be president. We have to fucking do everything we can to sabotage this system and consolidate power.
I agree. And I don't think, I used to think like, man, they really hate a black person that much. And it's like, I didn't understand whenever back then that like, it's not that they just hate this one black guy. It's what a black guy being president represents for the future, right?
Yeah.
Like represents to the country. And it's like, that was something that I really never could grasp until kind of recently, I guess.
I think what really put it in full perspective for me is when I was doing the research for our John F. Kennedy episode, which if you go onto the Fapcast YouTube channel, you can watch because no one did. But it was the same thing with the first Catholic president, where there was this idea that this was going to destroy white America because Catholicism and being white wasn't always one to one back then in the eyes, including white Catholics weren't always as white as other whites.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly, Bob. And then also there was that study that came out around, I guess maybe 2012 or something was whenever I remember that coming out. That was like, the first one that I became aware of anyway, and was getting passed around a lot, that said that, whites would be a minority majority by whatever year. And that I think also combined with Obama really fucking set some stuff in motion. And then, and I've made that whole chart about this stuff that along in 2011, Citizens United, that was what the mechanism that allowed for a lot of the shit to happen that has led to where we are now. Because I mean, it'd be one thing if you just got a bunch of pissed off racists that don't have any ability to affect any change in institutions or anything. But oh wait, dark money, that changes the fucking game.
Well, just like
Anyway.
between dark money and I don't know a lot of people know this, but a lot of the gun rights or the gun protections and gun control legislation was rolled back constitutionally while Obama was president by a conservative leaning court. I think the DC versus Heller was 2010.
Yeah, sounds right. I mean, anyway, let me finish this. Sorry, I'm getting to the good part. Promise.
Sure.
So let's see. So yeah, they're driven by fear, and I mean, I think both things are true, basically, right? Like they're almost like intrinsically linked. They are both in fear of losing power, and they also don't fucking value democracy. So they're just like, fuck it, we'll get this out of the way. That's the thing that's in the way, right? Anyway, but for parties to accept losing, two conditions must hold. First, they must feel secure that losing today will not bring ruinous consequences. And second, they must believe that they have a reasonable chance of winning again in the future. And I think that's the thing right here. This is me talking now. I think that's the thing. It just seems evident to me that conservatives know that culturally, without the inorganic bullshit, without the fucking, the bots and the, vote, gerrymandering, without fucking insurrections and without misinformation and all of this shit, that they are just done. Like they're done. If it was we were just left to people voting based on what they think is right and wrong, and there wasn't all this fucking bullshit being injected into the conversation via social media, they'd be over for them. And they know that.
If a lot of Republican politicians weren't mercenaries, that their opinions are paid for, they're hired.
Yep.
They are recruited to run for a seat, so that they can vote according to their financiers. And to bring it back to the show Villain today, good old Wisconsin, there is a Californian banker who was running as a Republican for Wisconsin's Senate seat that is up for election versus Tammy Baldwin, who was the first gay senator.
Oh.
She's fucking rad. But yeah, this guy, he lives in California. He's a banker. He's got more money than God, and he is running for Senate in a state that is on the other side of the country.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right, Bob. And you got to keep that in mind at all times, that they have not actually won the popular vote. The people have not chosen them since Reagan.
No.
No? Before
Bush
that.
won the popular vote in 2004.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Look, yeah, all right, fine,
Hell of a draw.
fine. Yeah, okay. So post 9/11, fucking page,
Yeah.
rah. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Sure, right.
Doesn't
One
count.
time.
Asterisk.
That's
Okay.
because
Asterisk.
he wouldn't have won the first time, right? Like that, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Let's not even get into hanging chads, okay? Because I don't even know what it means. No, I know what it means. So, but yeah, just a little more context here, historical context. So if you're ever like, man, what's going to happen to this country? Like, what comes next, right? Like, it gets a little scary. But there are moments in the U.S. history that kind of like might be somewhat of a indicator of how things might go. I mean, of course, things are always different, but like when you look at, see,
I think
so like post Civil War, you had from 1885 to 1908, all 11 post-Confederate states passed laws establishing poll taxes, literacy tests, property and residency requirements, and other measures aimed at stripping African Americans of their voting rights, which worked. It went from black turnout in the South fell from it was 61% in 1880, fucking crazy, and then in 1912 it was 2%.
Right.
So I mean, this is not the first time that this shit has even been tried. Like we're just kind of, it seems like we're at this point. We're lucky enough to live right here in one of these moments of history, but maybe unlucky enough that this might be the final one.
I hope we learn our lesson, and I hope that people recognize that we have to stop it at all costs. And I hope that conservatives recognize that the conservative movement doesn't care for you. If you are politically conservative, hey, welcome. Hi, I'm happy you're here. But the people who run as Republicans do not care about what you care about. They don't actually care about jobs. They don't actually care about immigration. They don't care. They don't care about how our farms are doing. They don't care about what the price of energy is. They don't care about inflation or the price of housing or the price of food. Anything that affects your day to day, they don't care. They don't care about you.
Yeah, they don't want democracy.
They don't want democracy. They want to use you. They see you as a patsy, as a sucker.
And look, I mean, we're not sitting here saying that the Democrats are like that. They care about you individually and stuff. But like, even if you know, there's definitely corporate interests that control, you know, moneyed interests in the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
But at least they typically will realize that and you know adhere to some sense that like this is actually about people. Like even if they're doing it cynically, they realize that they have to give something to the people.
Right.
Like
they have to pay their promises, right?
And that allows us the conditions to fucking push them further, you know?
Hey, Reed, and yes, Project 2025 is a thing, and anyone who has not
you are you're getting ahead of the game, Reed. We're about to
do a whole fucking series on that bullshit because it is 900 some fucking pages of disaster.
So I don't know exactly when. We haven't decided when we're going to start this, but there's going to be a several episode series we're going to do all the history of modern conservatism in the United States.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna kind of just, how the fuck did we get here? You know, it's kind of we asked that question in the episode 0 thing, like how did we get here? Well, here we are. We're gonna try and figure out, like in the political sense of reactionaries and conservatives and fascism and all that, like how the fuck did we get here? And you know, I don't know, just it's kind of a know your enemy type thing, I guess. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I want to talk to Bob's comment about GOP voters don't care. I don't think that's true. I think the loud plurality of them online and those who are still actively pro-Trump, I think you're right about them. But I think there is a lot of GOP voters who don't understand that the GOP that tells them that, oh, if we do something about immigration, it'll help jobs. If we do something about, trans people, it's good for children, right? It's good for their health. And that's all lies. Oh yeah, the GOP primary voters are bananas, banana cucumbers. Yeah, they're all fucking all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, there's the infamous one with like the you ask them if they support what was it, the
It's the support for the Affordable Care Act versus
yes,
the support for Obamacare, and those are the same thing.
yep, that was what it was.
Yep.
And they're like, no, I don't, no, Obama, whoa, Affordable Care Act, that sounds good, like, and it's sad, man. It's sad that, like, and it's very, very frustrating that there's people that, in my mind, and I know this is kind of fucked up, and you can tell me I'm fucking stupid and crazy for saying this, but I do think there should be some type of fucking literacy test. I think that it's kind of fucking with elements at play that are too big and important and affect too many lives to just let dumb people that like low information people. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's why we have an education system, right? In theory, if we have a working education system that hasn't been sabotaged by 40 years of defunding and changing funding into block grants that are given to private schools and charter schools and to subcontracting companies that provide resources to schools, but are just there to extract taxpayer dollars from the school system rather than help students, we would have less illiteracy. We would have more political awareness. And it's almost like there is a sizable portion of our political system in the form of the Republican Party that is vigorously opposed to people knowing things.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of that, right? Crawling chaos. It's the general kind of like lack of education, and then then also there's the lack of emotional intelligence. But then you add into that the fucking the gunpowder is social media, and there you go.
Yeah, and schooling is a mess all over the country.
Yeah, Richard Spencer is still out there, man. Like he hasn't. He's just realized that he's too saturated his name, so he can't just go around speaking as Richard Spencer. But he's still. I mean, he was a rich fuck from Texas, I think. And he, like he was born into a rich family and shit. So he just has the ability to go around and do whatever influence he wants to. I'm sure he's had untold influence. Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing is like we're talking about people that don't care to a degree. Like if you were a fan of Richard Spencer before, do you really care that he kind of looked silly after that? Not probably not. Like even though that audio was fucking cringe and embarrassing. And
pre-social media internet was great, Bob. I agree. I miss like message boards and fucking news boards.
Well, I would just be cautious that you're sure you're even talking to a real person sometimes with that. I'll say that. There's some weird stuff going on with his media presence.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on that, but
yeah, MySpace, man. Remember we were just like the most we worried about was like, oh no, somebody took me out of their top 8. What did I do?
Oh my God. I don't know that I ever changed my top 8 because I don't think I ever cared that much. Like, I think I removed the guy that was like default on there.
Tom.
Yeah.
He's very happy. Yeah, fascists don't need to be like or popular to take power. In fact, like people will see a fascist who's just like like Trump, for fucking sake. I mean, like he's hideous. He's a disgusting human being. I think even some of his own voters would think that to some degree. But like, it doesn't matter because the fact that he's so offensive is kind of part of what they like about him.
Right.
It's like they hate us. They hate, and I mean us as in like, yeah, some of it is a little bit like, yeah, they have somewhat accurate ideas of what we believe and stuff like that. But then a lot of it isn't. A lot of it's just this fucking straw man built of straw men.
Well, I think now that part of the conservative movement is so many degrees of separation removed from reality, right? Like Zelensky, right? They're upset about Zelensky being a thing. They made it a talking point at CPAC that like, how many degrees of reality do you have to be removed to think that he is a major player on the global stage?
Yeah.
Like, he is an important one. He is the figurehead and leader of a country that is fighting authoritarianism in a direct way, and we should do more to support him. But he's not Ukraine isn't a major economic power. They're not a cultural center in the way that the United States is, or that Russia is, or that China is, or even a country like Israel that can kind of get away with anything, or Saudi Arabia that can get away with anything. They're just kind of there. And, like, why do they hate this guy? Because he's become a symbol of anti-authoritarianism.
I think we all are in full agreement, Lucifer. I will say though that like at least that form of fucking compromised democracy, there's rules that you can play by.
Yeah.
There's norms and expectations. There's things you can fucking like you can do a certain thing and expect a certain outcome. Whereas like fascism and the way that they've been doing things, it's like all fucking bets are off, motherfucker. Like there's no fucking telling how they're gonna shit on the board and like yeah.
Well, I can tell you how they do it right now in a lot of ways. Not all the time, but one of the major ways they've done it over the last, 8 years now is with court rulings and existing laws. So let's say here's a perfect example. Jared Kushner could not have been able to work in the White House. Ivanka shouldn't have been able to work in the White House. Since the Kennedy administration had a lot of his family members work in the White House, we passed anti-nepotism statutes that say the president's family members can't fucking work in the White House. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
And Trump ignored all of those.
Yeah, he said he was going to have the business is going to be signed over to Don Jr. or whatever. Who knows if that even happened? I think it did technically.
I think
legally.
It did, legally speaking, but not.
But do we really think he wasn't involved? Do we really think he didn't get that money and put into his account somewhere or whatever? No, of course not.
No.
And then he's out of office. I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but now, Hunter Biden, right? Like,
right. Well, no, I'm not going into Hunter Biden because that's.
Well, I mean, I was just going to. Yeah, no, right. But I mean, that's the point, though, is that like they just what are you talking about, Jared Kushner? They were so fucking brazen to put Kushner and Ivanka right there in the fucking administration, and then like they're gone, and Biden, Hunter is not even fucking part of the administration.
No, he has no government role anywhere on the planet. But to go back to Ivanka and Kushner, when it was challenged, like, hey, you can't do that. You had two problems. One, there's no legally prescribed punishment. And no one legally had as far as the courts were concerned, no one had standing to challenge those appointments. So like there's a law that says you can't do it. But how our legal system works is you have to have standing. You have to be aggrieved by them doing that. And as far as the courts were concerned, no one has standing to challenge this. And breaking that statute has no penalty. So laws don't matter if only when we say they do. And yeah, you have to take fascist when fascists say they're joking, presume they're lying.
Right. Yeah. If
when
you
they go, it's
just
a joke, dude, and I'm like, no, I don't believe you.
If you haven't learned that right by now, like it's the same thing I said a while back where what was it? Somebody was trying to say that whenever Mark Wade had said, we're gonna I'd rather burn down the industry before I ally with the alt-right.
Right.
And they're like, oh, alt-right. And then you start seeing that same old meme that we've seen it for years. Like, oh, everything you don't like is the alt-right.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, motherfucker, you've been doing that too long. Now
we all know. Yeah.
That meme is the indicator that you're fucking alt-right, you piece of shit.
Yeah. How do you know someone is alt-right? They get upset when the alt-right is called The alt-right.
Right.
You know, when someone goes, "Oh, you call everyone a Nazi," and you like pull up their fucking Twitter page, and it's just like literally like, you know, the 14 words and like Hitler did nothing wrong post. You're like, no, you are a fucking Nazi.
I mean, even if it isn't that far right, like I mean, we've all done it, I'm sure, where you're like having an argument with somebody, you're like, man, this person seems like a fucking fascist or Nazi or something.
And you check their page, and it's just like, oh,
and it is, and you're like,
yeah.
this is everything that I expected to find. Like,
right. There's no surprises from these people anymore. They're exactly what they seem to be, and they will try and pretend otherwise, but they're not. They don't bother going stealth. They just fucking, you know, because to them it doesn't matter, right? Like,
stop being, you know, I'm not talking about you in particular, of course, but like just generally, I really have, since my channel's been going on, basically, I've tried to urge people to stop being the fool to them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to just like stop taking them at their word. If somebody is, you know, you really have to ask yourself, if somebody's like, you know, I don't know, let's say you're talking about trans people and like, look at these laws that they're trying to pass that trans people will die, you know, if these laws are passed or whatever. And then somebody's like, okay, but well, so I guess something about, you know, and they like some silly ass little, you know, tangential aspect about trans people or something like that. And it's like, well, oh, it's just, I don't like how they make me have to use their pronouns or whatever. It's like, hold on, man. We're talking about fucking human beings' lives right now. And that's what you're going to come in here with?
That's your problem? Yeah. Okay. Grow up.
Yeah. That shit is, by the way, I was listening to, speaking of Christchurch, it's not the same thing, but I was listening to a series of, on Anders Breivik. That's, yikes, that guy was a fucking piece of shit. Is a piece of shit. I didn't really.
Also, if you're ever in an interaction with a conservative online and they want to show you a link and they're just like, see, here's a thing. I want you to click on it in a browser that has very good ad blockers and very like an incognito browser, because they will give your fucking ad blocker a stroke. But often, and I know you've covered on like the Showcast, like these sites will like, okay, so someone linked me to an Andy No article that was saying, oh, the some Canadian government found this about trans health care. And the article says that and just sort of repeats it over and over again. And it has all these links. But none of those links go to this study or this report. They go to another Andy No article talking about this report. But they just circle back around on themselves without ever showing you this report.
Right.
They don't actually have a source. They have a guy saying there was a thing and it says this, but they can never show you the thing.
And this is why media literacy is so important, because it's, you know, it's so easy for even, you know, I might be susceptible to this sometimes where like, if something says, oh, there's a report that says blah, 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 that sounds really official if you don't think twice about it.
If you don't think twice about it, right? If you don't click through.
Yeah. So, you know, always trace to, you know, primary sources and you know, verify with another source that's not, you know, and media bias fact checks. I think that's actually is even called a website called that, mediabiasfactcheck.com, I think.
Or factcheck.org.
Okay. Yeah. Check those out. Cause I mean, even if they're not intentionally lying, they're lying to themselves for sure.
Right.
You know, and
they don't have to be lying to be wrong.
Just, and since we're on the topic, let's check something out real quick. I just grabbed this video from old, I don't know, something about, he's like a Pac-Man character or something. I don't know.
Oh, right then. I'm gonna have this cookie while you're doing that.
Hey, you have it.
My spouse left cookies on the desk, and now I have to have them.
Nice. Let me just find this damn video that I just downloaded. Okay, so this is from a day ago, and this is out of South Carolina, where they just were doing their primary, I guess, yesterday, for the GOP. And so I guess this is on MSNBC.
Before I have this cookie, everywhere should do their elections on the weekend. Anyways, as you were.
Yeah. And so this is surprised South Carolina's one doing it on the weekend. That's crazy. But I guess maybe for when it comes to GOP primary, they're like, yeah, no, we're going to do it on the weekend for sure. But general election, no. I don't know. Anyway, this is just looks like a couple being interviewed. I have not watched this, but the title is intriguing. So
now go to another element of the South Carolina primary, which is the voters. This is genuinely scary stuff. CNN and MSNBC did interviews with South Carolina voters. And these interviews are so deranged that it is yet another reminder of the fact that the path to victory in this country, we don't write off any state, but we know that Joe Biden's not going to win South Carolina. The path to victory in this country is not changing the minds of these delusional South Carolina Republicans. It's just not. It would be great to have a serious shot at South Carolina. Republicans win South Carolina. We don't need these folks. So the takeaway is we don't need to convince these people to win. Here are some of these interviews. This is CNN with supporters of Trump in South Carolina.
Any concerns about the criminal charges that he's facing and how they could impact the general election?
No, I think that it's really hard being a young person trying to get a hold of information in the news because there's so many voices, and so it's really hard to know what to believe, and there's so many.
There's too much diversity in the media. It's terrible. I don't know who to believe. This is straight out of Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, right? What 1984 and Orwell is, we limit voices, we control it, it's all official government propaganda. Huxley's vision is it's so flooded with nonsense that nobody knows what to believe. The actual reporting is written off as propaganda and fake news. This is more or less what this young lady is alluding to.
And so I try to do my best to know what I can, but I definitely don't know everything.
As somebody who has accidentally broken the law myself, carrying a firearm into an airport, I believe that the legal system can be confusing, not always transparent.
I love that. The law is very simple. Don't bring a gun through security in an
McLeod, try and stay on topic, man. I know you always want to tell us exactly what you think of everybody. It's like it's actually irrelevant what Pacman thinks about Israel right now.
Airport. An unloaded gun properly stored can be checked in a bag. And it's just so confusing. This guy accidentally broke the law, and similarly, Trump might have accidentally committed 91 felonies in 4 different jurisdictions because the law is so complicated. You know, I would believe it if this guy said, I'd run an internet sales tax. Confusing. You hire a lawyer, they tell you, but that's actually confusing law. Whatever this guy did with guns at the airport, the law about guns in airports is actually very, very simple.
And until he is charged, really found guilty for something and punished appropriately so for it, I am not concerned about where he stands currently with legal situations.
So if he is convicted, you would be potentially open to voting for someone else?
I don't know if I would go and, hold on, let me think for a second.
Please.
It would have a serious impact on my decisions.
As you know, Donald Trump has.
So understand that one. The guy goes, no, listen, I don't care about the charges or anything until Trump's actually convicted. So he goes, well.
Legal cases pending against him. If he is convicted in any of those cases, would that change your mind about it?
No, because it's all
Why?
BS.
Well, they've had a hard time convicting him of anything so far.
They haven't actually gotten that far in the process yet. Like,
I guess it would have to depend on what it was.
Can I chime in? Sorry, I was still muted. My bad. The cookie was delicious, by the way.
Right.
In the Trump org civil fraud trial, he has been convicted. In the Eugene Carroll case, he has been found liable.
Yeah.
So at this point, yeah, charges have stuck. He's got to cough up $500 million with interest to file his appeal in the state of New York. He's got a judgment against him in these cases for him and his organization committed a whole bunch of fraud in New York over the last several decades.
But that's just a bunch of woke BS, though. You know that.
Right. But that's right. But like, we're there, right? Like that they're always going to have to retreat and retreat and retreat because like the day has come. Unless you're going to continue to be detached from reality and go, that was, fake or woke or whatever. Yeah, fuck them. But anyways.
Well, I mean, and just real quick, the rot starts at the head. So here is from 6 hours ago. Mr. Donald Trump himself. I have not seen this either. I just happened upon this.
And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word today. You heard that, nuclear. He's starting to talk nuclear.
Catch that?
Yeah, who's what
and
country
Putin,
is
has so
Obama
little
in
respect
charge
for
of?
Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word today. You heard that, nuclear. He's starting to talk nuclear weapons.
I think. Sorry.
So two things. One, Obama is not in charge of any nation state I am aware of at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. And also, like, this is not the first time that Putin has waggled the N-word. No, not that N-word, the other one. As far as Ukraine goes, because it's a card in his deck and he's not afraid to play them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, read, like, I'm not, don't mean to, like, shame you or anything, but, like, it is important that we understand how the legal system works and that, like, people get arrested.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that they've been convicted of anything.
Right.
So there are people, actually, a lot of poor people currently. It's a big problem in the country with the bail system.
Huge problem.
People that are just sitting in jails, they are not convicted of anything. They're just some of them haven't even been fully charged yet. But they just haven't been able to afford to, pay the bond to get out.
Right. Cash bail is a fucking crime.
Because it's literally, because like Trump is a perfect example, because he went, took the picture, did his thumbprints, whatever, and then fucking paid, and he's out of there.
Yep.
No problem. And he still complains. Yeah, that's what he does, man. Like Putin's fucking, he's also he's pretty whacked out.
I also now Russia has more nukes than we can conceivably understand the number of them, and so does the U.S. But even our nuclear arsenal is woefully out of date on its maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand, Russia's is not any better than that and is likely worse. Now, that doesn't mean he can't wage a nuclear war, because yes, the fuck he can. But I feel like there is a willingness to rattle that saber without swinging it, because you might just blow yourself up.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
do we want to test them? No.
Yeah. But there's a reason that we're not as concerned about it as we were in like the, between the 60s and the 80s, basically.
Yeah.
50s and 80s. Because the fact is, we know that our shit is fucking superior to theirs.
Right.
I'm not being jingoistic. It's just a fact that we have enough fucking the fucking bleeding edge of fucking nuclear technology to I don't know, we could do some crazy shit.
Well, when you spend more money than the rest of the countries combined on your military, you would hope it's really good. Like, I hope we got what we paid for, because we could have paid for a lot of useful things for the well-being of American, not even just citizens, but people living in America.
Well, we're not in a Cold War. I mean, really, but not in the same way that we were, because like then it was like, I don't know. I'd have to think about how to explain it, because I've read a little bit about the difference between then and now. But basically, Putin knows that, with mutually assured destruction is eventually what everybody came to, right. Like fully realize that, like, just doing that, and that doesn't preclude the possibility that Putin's that crazy and just says fuck it. But he's essentially, signing Russia's fucking, death warrant. I mean, definitely the Kremlin's, definitely Moscow.
I see Reed mentioning spies. Like, spies are still a thing. Like, we spy on our allies, we spy on our enemies, and vice versa. Everyone's spying on everybody, because that's just statecraft.
Speaking of which, I finally watched Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I have not. At some point, I would like to, like, Mission Impossible is a franchise that I will not go out of my way to see, but as soon as it like falls in my lap, I'll watch it and find it genuinely a good time.
Me too. That's about how. I mean, actually, I take that back. I've gone out of my way to see 2 in the theater, and one of them in IMAX. That was pretty Fallout.
Oh,
Holy
wow.
shit, that was a good one. That was the one where you fucking climbed the big building and wherever.
He climbs a big building in everyone, doesn't he? Like, I feel like it's a
Yeah,
thing
but it
I
was
love
like the
about-
biggest building in the world. I forget what it's called.
the
Burj-
one that's in like Dubai.
Yes, the
Yeah,
Burj,
that's a
Burj
cool one.
Khalifa or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Anyway, so
Anywho.
Trump is fucking crazy, man. His brain is not good. Look, Biden's isn't the fucking best either. However, there is a long track record of Biden gaffing and fucking up.
Well, it's like he's got a speech impediment and has to work through that.
And then he'll just say stupid shit too, and it's like, but it doesn't seem like he's deteriorated. If you look at the way that Trump is actually, his speech, his cognizant, his ability to be cognizant has deteriorated in real time. Like since we've been watching him be president, and then after, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Now I know why you want to hate me. It's got that Limp Bizkit version of the song. That's like the lamest one. That one. Anyway.
All right. Well, I'm not really
Okay.
married to talking about Trump anymore, so
You're not married to talking about Trump. Well, what marriage?
marriage is what brings us together today. I have a funny story about that.
All
that
right.
exact line. So when my mom got remarried, I officiated her wedding.
Mhm.
And my mom is the one who introduced us to Princess Bride, and she loves that movie. And so we were going over everything because it was just like a few of us by the lake. We went, because her house is by the lake and it's off a cliff, or the lake is down the block, and there's this bluff that overlooks the lake a couple blocks away. But she was expecting me to say something, and what comes out of my line is that whole bit from memory. And the look on her face was this look of like shock, horror, wonder, and happiness all at the same time. And like, she's still like, when someone comments on like wedding pictures she's had at her desk at work and stuff, or like she's got it as her like Facebook banner, like she'll tell people about me doing that to this day. She fucking loves it. But yeah, marriage.
Marriage. Yeah,
what
it's
brings us together today.
So back to the New York Times.
Yeah, we're back to the New York Times. So this is part of an ongoing series I have where I fight the New York Times in a one-sided rivalry of me tilting at windmills.
Boop. So yeah.
Yep, we got some fun pictures. If you look up marriage articles, New York Times on Google, I took some pictures. This is about like the first 4 good scrolls because there's no like pages on Google anymore. It sort of keeps scrolling. So if you want to, I don't know if you can tab through and show.
Yeah, so here, like, these are interesting titles, by the way.
Yeah,
I
so
married the wrong person, and I'm so glad I did. What a weird fucking title.
And they publish like every few months or sometimes every few weeks an article about like why you should get married. And I noticed this trend a little while ago, sometime last year, that like, wow, the New York Times is fucking obsessed with like trying to get people to get married. What the fuck is going on? And so I thought about it and I decided, fuck it. We had a rough fap last week. And so I wanted to do something fun this week. And we are going to talk about the New York Times' obsession with marriage and why you should get married.
Good marriages are good. Bad marriages are, well, bad. Why aren't more people marrying? Ask women what dating is like. A marriage problem that can't be solved. To be happy, marriage matters more than career. Like, man, y'all are simping hard for this marriage shit.
They love this fucking marriage shit. But so I would say that among the culture war issues we're dealing with, I would say that marriage and its role in society is like the tier below moral panic, right? It's like a moral distress.
Yeah.
like they're not panicking that, oh God, like no one's getting married, but they're like, hey, people should get married more. We should talk about marriage more. And hey, why aren't it's sort of this weird obsession.
Yeah.
However, like when conservatives talk about traditional family values, you get this weird dissonance because they're also not about creating the economic and systemic conditions that encourage what they call traditional marriage. And as my spouse pointed out, when them and I were talking about it earlier, a couple days ago, what they call traditional marriage, the nuclear family, you know, a mother and a father who are cis and het, and they have 2.5 kids, and that 0.5 is the middle child that they don't really care about. So he gets half the attention, half the punishment, half the presence, half the responsibility. That's the 2.5 kids, and then a dog and a white picket fence, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not even a century old. And white. Yeah, I forgot about white. That's my privilege showing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's my privilege showing.
I did want to say, Screwface Capone, if that's true, man, congratulations. We're not like anti-marriage here or anything. I'm not, anyway. You might be. But
I'm actually married. And I'm happily married.
Yeah,
marriage
not
is
like
great if that's your thing.
Not like this, like this type of shit is fucking, that's dystopian almost.
That's fucked up, right?
Marriage made me let go of my dreams. Good.
What the fuck? Marriage was the path to my spouse and I fulfilling our dreams. Like, we work together on stuff so that we can both be happy and find the things we want out of life and find new things we didn't know we wanted out of life. It's great.
Right.
But, when they talk about traditional marriage, it's not really traditional because, historically families were not this like single generational household, but like often people's parents live with them, their kids live with them. You might have aunts and uncles around from both sides because housing was expensive and hard to come by, but also that that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, is not untrue. I was fortunate and I for a while had a cishet white mother, a cishet white father, 1.5 siblings. So my brother doesn't count. He's not a person.
Well, it's kind of like how the idea of like just it's a joint family, right? Like
right.
It's more like, and you're even communities in a lot of cases.
Yeah, but so I had that nuclear family on the surface, but anytime that we had off of school, it was off to grandma, one of our grandparents' houses, and we were fortunate to have all of our grandparents growing up. And I still have 2 of them left, and I'm mostly happy for that. Some weird feelings about the one, but that's neither here nor there. But so even then, we had this, communal raising between my parents and my grandparents, and occasionally an aunt or an uncle. But instead of living in one house, we lived, across 3 different counties and several different houses. You can't, like, that idea of a nuclear family just doesn't really work. Like, it's not real. And I think the writer of the article, their most recent article as of today, misses some of that. And I wanted to go into that. And I wanted to give him a fair shake. Because, I'm here telling you the New York Times is full of shit on this, or at least they're very obsessed. But I wanted to do a good deep dive on their most recent take, which I think seems fair, right?
Yeah.
So we showed you our fun Google search, and their most recent article, I think it is from a couple of days ago. It's from this week.
Okay.
Its title is, it's an opinion piece written by Jane Costin, and the title is, I said, what's your plan about marriage and dating? And there was silence. And it is an interview with a writer by the name of Brad Cox, who blames what he describes as elites and money
earning oriented culture for hindering people from getting married. And one of his big talking points is that he thinks marriage is one of the pillars of civilization.
Ew.
Yeah, that's yikesy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually really, really dumb and bad.
And I'm willing to like go, okay, if I were to talk to this person, like, okay, is it marriage or is it family? And what is a family? You know, what is a marriage to you? So I broke this down into 4 segments as far as like my review of this interview. First, what he gets right, in my opinion. One thing he does talk a lot about is discouraging men from entering the teaching profession. He thinks that denies boys good role models, and I think he is spot on there. I think more men should get into teaching.
Absolutely.
Even if it's in traditional, or we'd consider traditionally masculine teaching positions like science or, gym class, whatever. Like we should encourage more men to teach. Broadly speaking, it's good to have that mix of role models. He also thinks that means testing for social programs targets married couples unfairly, and that discourages people from starting families, and it actually breaks up marriages because, well, if we're married, but if we get separated, we can both get a social program, and if we stay married, we can't pay our bills. What the hell do we do? Comedian, shout out to you. You fucking rock. Like, hats fucking off. Give this guy a round of applause. Absolute hero up here in chat.
We're gonna have Dean on pretty soon to talk. Well, I don't know about this show, but like on the channel, talk about some comics and stuff again. So that'll be
sweet. Cool. You rock. All right. So he also thinks that Republicans fail to set a good example as to what a healthy family looks like, and that they, while they talk a lot about, traditional family values, they don't do anything to encourage people starting families. The last thing he says that I agree with is that a marriage is work and we shouldn't mythologize it. And I 100% agree. My marriage is work. It's work that I love. I'm happy to do the work, but it's effort and it can be hard sometimes, and it's work. Like any good thing is. Anything worth doing will take some work. Of course, we're going to go on to what he gets wrong. And I think going from that we shouldn't mythologize marriage, all this guy does is mythologize marriage. He calls it a pillar that holds up civilization. He's written a book on that. You can't say we should mythologize marriage and then make a career out of mythologizing marriage.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's a little weird.
Either unself-aware or dishonest. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say just lacking some level of self-awareness that like this is so important to him, and like he doesn't believe soulmates are a thing, and I don't either. So I get how he comes at this like, oh, we've created this soulmate myth, and we shouldn't do that. Like I see how he gets that cognitive dissonance, but it is there. There is some cognitive dissonance going on here.
That just unrelated, but related to the topic of souls, is apparently I was supposed to prove that they exist. Because we talked about back to the Ripa's end thing. We talked about that the other day, and it's just a quick aside. And during that I talked about how like even if this isn't a grift, it's actually on the up and up, then what he's talking about is just like the most soulless way to make comics is what I said. Just a general term.
Sure.
It's a term, it paints a picture. I'm not literally saying that it's soulless. I'm saying that it's just there's no artistry to it. There's no passion into it. And like and Ripaverse Goalpost posted about it and said they're saying this stuff, but the soulless and blah blah, but they don't provide any evidence. And I'm like, well shit, man, in order to prove that it's soulless, I would have to prove there's souls first.
Don't they believe, like, isn't he a good Christian, TM? Didn't he, like, sit down with Isom, no, not that one, the other one, and like sort out that they were all good Christians? So like,
Are you
shouldn't he already?
suggesting that Rip vs. Goalpost is actually Eric July? How dare you?
I am suggesting that someone who supports Eric July that fervently,
like maniacally,
would believe in souls.
Anyway, I
That
just
is
thought
what
that was
I'm
funny.
suggesting.
Oh, that was funny and stupid. Back to sorry, my bad.
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't mind. Yeah, you are free to chime in. So yeah, the other thing is he blames individualism, what he calls individualism, and secularization for discouraging marriage. And kind of dodgy on those terms. He won't like, what does that mean? Because when we're talking about like the 50s nuclear family as this thing that should be promoted by society,
Lionized, yeah.
what does that mean? What do you mean by like individualism is bad for marriage and secularization is discouraging marriage?
It means women need to know their place, which is generally the kitchen if they're not vacuuming. They vote how their husband wants them to vote. If they don't, they know what happens. They're just now, their eye is just now looking better from the last time they didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I like that's what I'm wondering, right? Is that what he's saying? Because like he doesn't want to say that, but like and he definitely doesn't talk about how unwed mothers haven't, as Greg B points out, haven't, he doesn't talk about that at all. We will get there. I just want to know that you are seen and heard.
If I may, I have nothing to support this. It's just a vibe that I'm getting. I feel like this is because, as was suggested, there's the unwed mothers thing, or whatever. There's like, because there's the divorce rate is incredibly high. Like even compared to what's that, like half of people get divorced within a certain amount of years or something.
So the divorce rate has actually gone down in the last several years, which is interesting.
Okay.
But marriage rates have gone down too, because
I bet that's what I was going to say. I bet marriage rates going down is the reason for that.
Right. It turns out when marriage is discouraged by society in the way that it is, you're more choosy. And this guy is saying, no, you should be less choosy and fucking spend those Benjamins on getting married, because even doing it on the cheap isn't cheap.
Well, I mean, how many people grew up, like people our age or so, grew up in divorced parents and saw the fucking garbage that creates in a lot of cases with like just finances and just relationships and everything. It's like, who would fucking do that?
Right.
But I think that's the point, right? Is like, so this kind of thing I think is meant to
part of it.
Encourage, because the spending power was greater with the quote unquote nuclear family, I would think. You know what I mean? Like we spent more money on shit. There's been studies that have shown that like people around our age and whatnot, millennials and Gen X and stuff, like we don't buy as much shit as previous generations. We spend money on experiences a lot more.
Right.
But we don't buy just shit. And that means that there's a lot of companies that are not making money.
Right. It's like, oh, why aren't you, the whole like myth of you need to spend this much money on an engagement ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, where the fuck did that come from? Oh, a fucking jewelry company.
Who believes that anymore?
Right.
Dipshits. Anyway.
Yeah. I did not spend a month's salary on the engagement ring I got my spouse. And they love it very much anyways.
Because it turns out money has almost nothing to do with love. Like almost nothing.
Right.
Maybe nothing. I don't know. Maybe nothing.
Money alleviates the stresses that get put on love. It does not bring you love.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need us to buy more blood diamonds. I'm a big blood diamond. Okay, when I first heard about blood diamonds as a teenager,
I was like, wait, are they like blood red colored diamonds?
That
That
sounds
would be
cool.
so fucking cool. And I'm like, oh no, it's just like fucking
Yeah,
slavery diamonds. And I'm
that's
like,
not
that
good.
fucking sucks. You
And
got
then
me
that
all hype for like
and
blood red fucking diamonds, like some fucking D&D shit.
and that movie
no,
wasn't
it's
very good
fucking
either.
slavery. Yeah.
You know, like Leo was fine, but whatever. Like he hadn't really hit his peak form yet back then. So his South African accent was kind of bad. I'll be
Kind
honest.
of cringe.
Anyway, Kyber crystals. Now that's what I'm fucking talking
Oh,
about.
I would
Fuck
love
yeah.
a fucking kyber crystal. Let's fucking go.
Yep. Oh shit.
I would.
Yeah. Imagine if that's the culture we had. Where like, you know, there's something like a kyber crystal where it's like just this exotic, rare thing, but like you can get one, but you're gonna have to work for it.
Right.
And that was what was prioritized over just like buying a thing. It's like you go.
Oh yeah.
The culture insists that if you want to ask someone to marry you, you have to fucking go on this fucking trek.
Right. You gotta go onto this ice planet and like
Mhm.
find a crystal, but the crystal also has to like you.
Yeah.
So like you have to like open yourself up to the crystal and like be okay with yourself to be okay with the crystal. And then you
think
bring
about-
that and you like put a sliver around the ring to give to your partner, and that'd be really
And-
sweet.
Yeah, think about what's going on in the head of the partner that you're asking to marry. Whenever that, like, they know that that's what you just went through to fucking get
Right,
this thing. It's like,
yeah.
holy shit, I don't doubt at all that you love me. Holy fucking
Right. Yeah, the crystal finds you, but you gotta go to God, what the fuck is the planet's name?
It was Jeddah, right?
Well, Jeddah is, I think, a place that they could get Kyber. Yeah, they could get them
Yeah.
on Jeddah, but there's a few places. I'm trying to think of the other one.
Hmm.
It is the planet they destroy that becomes Starkiller Base.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, what the fuck is it called? I'm so mad at myself that I can't think of this.
I'll look it up.
Ilum.
There you go.
Okay. Woo! All right, my nerd cred was flashing before my eyes. All right. Anyways, yes.
Where the hell are some crystals going to be on Mustafar? In the lava?
Fuck yeah, that'd be awesome.
Ugh.
All right, so I see someone put Ilum in the chat. Thank you for trying to help me out as I yeah, all right. So and then like speaking of divorce and unwed mothers, he really talks out of both sides of his mouth on divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says, like, yes, like a bad marriage with a lot of like arguing and stuff. I don't know that he says anything about like domestic abuse, but like that's bad for a kid, right? But then like a divorce, he also says that a divorce where like the kid can't tell the parents were in a bad marriage is also bad for the kid. And he kind of goes, well, those are a wash, so we should just like encourage people to stay married. And like that's not great. It's less than ideal. Yeah, I haven't read that Darth Vader comic yet, Greg, and I really need to catch up on my Star Wars comics because I fucking should.
I'm now looking at pictures of Ilum.
Oh, nice.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Just looking at crystal pics, I understand. I see how it is. Look, we all know how easy it is to get Morgan to talk about Star Wars. It's not hard. It's like Dane and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Now imagine Wolverine, but instead of adamantium claws, it's lightsabers.
Which by the way, we're gonna have to end it before too long. I gotta go get my laundry out of the laundry soon, but yeah, if you want to finish up on that or anything.
Yeah. No, I got some more. We'll gotta keep cooking. I'll try and fly through it. But so the other thing that I think he gets wrong is that it is a person's social circle. It's the responsibility of someone's social circle to actively encourage them and help them find a partner to marry.
What?
And like, speaking from experience, nah, motherfucker, no means no. Like, don't drop that dead cat on my door. I will, I had a former friend who was obsessed with me dating someone. Obsessed. Like, created my Facebook page to ask someone out on my behalf and then say, hey,
I made a Facebook page for you because I think you should date more. Like, just like creepy fucking shit. No, don't fucking. Woo, no. If a friend wants your help in finding a partner for them, they can ask. Do not force yourself on someone that way. It's icky and gross.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings us to not only what he gets wrong, but what he is fucking bananas on. And this is the thing that actually, this is the creme de la banana creme pie of why I wanted to talk about this. And this is where I think like the mask slips a little bit. Like if I was gonna say this guy had some weird beliefs and the sort we talk about, this is what gives it away. So he has invented a term which he calls inverted hypocrites, which he describes as elites who he sees as mostly left-leaning, where they lead visually traditional marriages, but they don't actively encourage with their social capital others to live similar lifestyles. And like, this is wrong on every fucking level. So first off, how do you want to define elites? Because I don't think you can honestly talk about our elites and call them all liberal, because I don't think the top 1% is all that liberal.
Yeah.
I think that's not true. I don't think you can find the numbers to back that up. I think what he means is celebrities. And as far as their marriage goes, we have a whole industry dedicated to cataloging and commentating on and speculating about their relationship drama.
Yep.
So I don't think there is a celebrity on the planet that could be considered to have a quote unquote traditional marriage. Also, like, most of them have things like nannies and housekeepers and stuff. It's not two, a cishet white mom, a cishet white dad, 2.5 kids, a dog, and a picket fence. You've got, the caretakers, you've got publicists, all that shit, probably tutors. Like, it's not really a traditional family. And then just like calling them elites, like maybe we've watched too much CPAC lately, but like, and we've talked too much about the JQ question, but like, elites is code for something in conservative circles these days.
Yeah.
And like, is this guy just like asking the JQ? And like, my brain might be poisoned by all the shit we've read about for this show.
No, he might not be.
He might not be, but
I
like,
don't think your brain's poisoned. I think that you just have become aware of a very fucking fucked up common thing these days.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so let's say he's right that our elites, however you want to define them, are mostly liberal,
mm-hmm.
and that they live in a traditional family while not telling other people to do the same. So he's saying it's a moral failing that they not tell other people how to live their lives, and that's a bad thing.
Huh.
Like, what if I just let you do your thing, bro?
Yeah.
That's a bad thing in this guy's mind.
Well, yeah,
and
typically
like,
there's a type of person that thinks that way.
Yeah. And I'm just like, this is really fucked up. And that this whole bit is why I wanted to cover this guy. And sort of as we're trying to fly through this, because you've got shit to do, I want to cover my last segment, topic 4, is the things he doesn't say, the notes that aren't played. And there's a few things that come to mind when we're talking about marriage in today's climate. I think the biggest one is same-sex marriage.
Mm-hmm.
This guy talks, decries secularization and individualism as a thing that is opposed to marriage, but doesn't really talk about same-sex marriage at all, and how that allowing same-sex couples to marry has meant there's more marriages, that you should be supporting that, right? Unless like you're not really about encouraging marriage, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
The next is he doesn't talk about how much corporate policy encourages a work first mentality, and like it's hard to have that kind of family and live in today's corporate structure or work environment. And he doesn't really criticize those institutions. He criticizes the culture, in quotes, for, being money oriented and being job oriented. But like, where does that come from, and who is enforcing that with their labor policies and its businesses, right? He has nothing to say on the businesses that sort of enforce this worldview. And sort of connected to that, because I don't think you can talk about corporate malfeasance in America without talking about Elon Musk these days. The fucking breeder fetish on the right.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of these CEOs also are weird, like, we have to breed more children. But then not wanting to run a company that encourages people to start families. So that's like, maybe look at your own house, right? Like for someone who's like, the problem is these liberal elites, whoever the fuck they are, like corporate America is obsessed with not letting people have free time, but also corporate leadership wants you to have fucking babies by the bucketful. And lastly, I think sort of circle back to CPAC and their absolute fear of immigration. Where is he encouraging? Because a lot of people trying to come here through immigration are coming with their families. You want more families in America. There are families lining up at the gate to come to America. Where is that? Where is he like, hey, maybe we should, let those families in because they want to start families in America?
Well, okay. So, I mean, just to respond to this, Julia, but I mean, also, Spider-Man, he famously believes that with great power comes great responsibility. Superman, he's from a dead planet, and he wants to inspire people to, be the best versions of themselves that they can be. That's really what he's all about. He's, so like if we're just talking about fictional bullshit, we can talk about fictional bullshit and how we need, we're going to let it affect our lives or not or whatever. But like, this is fucking fictional bullshit, and you can fuck the fuck off and keep your fucking stupid bullshit to yourself, Julia.
Well, even if we're talking about biblical marriage, I'm pretty sure in the Bible, a marriage is between a man and a woman and his concubines and maybe his slaves.
Well, and also the passages in the Bible in fucking Deuteronomy that fucking explicitly talk about same sex, man laying with another man or whatever. It also fucking talks about shellfish.
Yeah, not eating shellfish and not wearing, and then
mixed fabrics.
Right. And as Bob brings up, some churches, there's plenty of pro same-sex marriage churches and religions that aren't your religion. So yeah, enjoy the shadow realm. May you rot in peace. All right. So that is
had to.
That is this that's a good way to end this conversation on marriage. The Bible is yeah. And that's the other thing is there's lots of models of marriage in the Bible, and none of them are the nuclear family.
Right.
So apparently Christians not knowing their Bible name a more iconic duo.
What the fuck was the model? What kind of family is it whenever you're not married, but you are hooked up with this chick, and then y'all like, she turns out she's pregnant by God.
Right.
But it's actually just God. It's himself. He has impregnated her with himself to be born so that he could, grow up to be fucking tortured and stuff. Like what is that fucking family called?
Is that rape, incest, or masturbation?
Yes.
Anywho.
All
right. So
I did. Oh, go ahead.
I have been mandated to tell a funny story. So if you've got something you want to do, otherwise we can.
Well, I haven't done any bub posting today.
Oh, do some bub posting, and then we can tell the story I am mandated to tell.
Okay. Well, so do I want to do an actual bub posting, or do I want to do something that tangentially involves the bub, but not really? But it really involves more of his corpse that has been reanimated.
I think you should show the reanimated corpse because that was fucking cool.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
It finally happened.
So cool. All right, you got to show this.
Yeah, this shit is what comics are fucking for, man.
Like, this is what it's about.
And talk about Jerry Duggan. Not everybody hits it every time, but like
this time he hit it.
We've known this is coming, and it still is great. In the most recent issue of Iron Man, Orcus has dispatched a killer to take care of Tony Stark, get him off the board, an assassin, and that assassin is actually a corpse of Wolverine, because it turns out, with this whole Krakoan resurrection thing, anytime one of these mutants dies, they just like generally leave the body wherever.
They are not cleaning up after themselves. This is why you reduce, reuse, then reanimate.
And Stark comments on that. He's like, that's pretty fucking stupid.
Right.
And he's right. Let's see.
You got a panel for it?
Yeah. Give me one
That's
second.
such a cool panel.
I'm gonna do the build up to it, right?
Yeah. Like if X-Men Red has been my favorite X book the last couple of years, Iron Man is competing for number 2.
So yeah, here you go. You got this mysterious assassin shows up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk some shit to you." Oh wait a second. That's
I just love the oh shit.
Yeah. So he recognizes he's got a little poop in his pants right now.
I love that.
And it comes at him. It's like, this is literally a Wolverine body that has been kind of like programmed by some cybernetics and stuff to come back and handle some business.
It's a bub bot.
It's a bub bot. Yeah, it's a robub.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
A cybubnetic. A cybub. I don't know. Okay, we're done. So as he's talking about here, Krakoa, like any government, was imperfect. Let's just leave it at that. He decides to he sets him on fire at first, which, oh shit, but all that does, as we know, Wolverine
just slows him down. Yep.
You just see his full form now, but this is literally an adamantium skeleton, full adamantium lace skeleton, claws, the whole fucking thing. Hold on one second.
I love the fucking Wolverine Terminator thing going on here.
It's fucking great.
Cool.
And then old fucking Wilson Fisk with the assist right there throws him the Mysterium cane that he's got there.
Good guy Fisk.
Mysterium being this metal, it's a mutant metal that they found, basically from another dimension kind of thing. Or in space. I forget exactly what the location.
It's like another dimension, isn't it?
Yeah. But so very, very strong and metal, and it's also it is kind of impervious to any kind of magic.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And so in the background of the last several issues, this whole Fall of X era, Tony Stark has been working on some new armor, as he tends to do. So yeah, he grabs that. Cool.
I love the once and future Kingpin of Crime. That's such a great line.
Miracle Metal. I could use it to pierce the power unit. But the fire belonging to the gods is hard to hold on to. So yeah, it's gone now. Whoopsie do. Oh, he gets a good slash there.
Is our hero down for the count?
Not looking good. But then Emma Frost, who had just left recently, well, it turns out she forgot something, which was this ring. That's a whole other story.
Powers.
Yep, hides her powers, and she's in the old diamond form.
Yep.
Can't hurt him. Can't hurt her while she's in diamond form.
What a loving spouse. Can you talk about a loving spouse? Like, she goes and she's gonna fight the Terminator Wolverine
for her husband.
They started this as purely just like a survival transactional type of thing that they got quote unquote married.
Oh, that's
and
so cool.
They've kind of found some things to like about each other since
Yeah,
then.
I
Especially
love
the
their
sex.
relationship.
They really like the sex, I think.
I would imagine.
So he's like, yes, dear. You know, he's fucking bleeding.
Yeah.
Blood pressure dropping, slick against his clothes. It's fitting. Perhaps Iron Man begins and ends with heart trouble. Oh, too bad, too bad. Well, she's gonna take it to the Wolverine bot, and then but yeah. So he's doing his thing. Meanwhile, she gets a hold of him, but this Bub bot, he's got an idea. He's gonna grab that ring of hers that makes her powers go away. He's gonna put it back on.
Yep.
That spells fucking doom for Emma Frost.
Yep.
But unfortunately for him,
Iron Man is here.
Fucking money shot, dude. Like the coolest fucking armor since Extremis, easily.
It's a real I'm not big on the knee Wendigs, but like the rest, like it's still like it's still really fucking cool though.
Oh god damn, Pepe Larraz designed this shit, and it is fucking amazing.
It's a top tier armor design for sure, but I think the real money shot is the next page.
Yeah, so oh shit, he got fucking stabbed by that's adamantium, guys. That cuts
adamantium.
That's any metal on Earth
except vibranium, yeah. Or
fucking, I don't think I've ever seen adamantium claws just do that before.
Then and like his arm is shattering from it. Yeah. And I love the line. It's like a fucking MCU line, but I love it anyway.
Embarrassing. Though not as embarrassing as this. You're fucked. You're fucked, buddy.
You're fucked. Yeah, you're done.
Astonishing. And then they're fucking just looking their best, leaving this.
I love the Hellfire brass knuckles.
Well, then you got these Sentinels, Stark Sentinels. Yeah. And there's a lot of them. So he's gonna have to figure out something to do about that. Look, he's created a new armor. Big whoop. Spoiler alert. Yeah, they actually blasted his head off. That's pretty cool. But spoiler alert again, because this was not expected, I don't think. You get a Felong here. He's got his fucking big ass armor. He's gonna get into that and go fight him, I guess. He's got almost like.
And so in Fall of the House of X, Ironheart and Forge deployed this like fleet of Mysterium ships a few issues ago.
Yeah, but turns out that's not even what they've been lying to us, the reader.
They've been lying to us about what those were. We didn't know, but we're about to find out.
I thought it was kind of weird that they were going to invade the Earth with like a bunch of ships.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but turns out, nope. Because what it really was, and as you see here, he's got his giant fucking war machine armor.
Yeah.
And it's the most dangerous armor on Earth. But he's going to the Outback.
He needs some bloomin' onion.
I was going to make a joke about that, but I didn't. But the ships that Ironheart built out in space with the dwarves that forged Thor's hammer landed right where they were supposed to, but they're not ships. And he sent all of the Stark Sentinels after him, all of them,
exactly as he was supposed to.
But now he's got the Mark 72, which is this armor. It's actually it's the most advanced armor I've ever undertaken with the fewest resources. And its primary function is to be the flight suit for my most powerful creation ever. The Sentinel Buster.
I love that's what it's called.
Yeah, just fucking shameless. I mean, the Stark Sentinels were already pretty big. And then
right.
Towers the fuck over them.
He's got a fucking super robot. Also, can I point out what's on that chest but a big fucking X?
Oh shit, yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, gotta respect.
Gotta respect it.
Well, look, it's his wife's culture, and he needs to learn to appreciate it.
He's respecting his wife's culture. I fucking love it. Now that's not just a Gundam Lucifer. That's like the Getter Robo. It's way fucking bigger. That's some Gurren Lagann shit.
It's like and I do take issue because I think that he, at one point, he has piloted a celestial armor.
Yeah, I
He's
think
also,
so.
I think that might be more powerful than this, but that's a fine. We'll let him.
But
leave
this
that
is
be.
way cooler.
It is way cooler.
It's way cooler.
And then
Oh,
Sentinel
it just-
Buster online.
I've got like, that that feeling. You know the feeling. I've got the feeling.
It's just, this is what comics are for, man. Like
It really is. Like
and
that's
there's been sorry.
that's the good stuff.
I did want to do one quick thing because we have a little extra time because my lovely girlfriend has decided to get the laundry out for me. So
Tell her, like comedian, she is also a hero.
Truly. So I did want to look at this one other thing, and this is from I decided to read X-Men Second Coming. To go back in time a bit to another era. And this is definitely actual bub posting.
Good old bub posting.
But first, we have to start with this moment where Bastion is about to kill fucking Hope. And presumably she's the Hope of mutant future.
Yeah.
Period. Bastion being merging of a Nimrod, Sentinel, and some other shit, and he's just a badass, evil fucker. Can't allow her to live. But Nightcrawler, he's there. He's gonna do something.
Got some bamf.
Warning: mutant powers in use. Calculating countermeasure. And he bites it. Nightcrawler's done for.
That's how
he
Nightcrawler dies. Yeah.
I remember when that happened. I was fucking upset.
So was I.
was fucking upset. Yeah. So Nightcrawler dies there. Fucking tragic, heartbreaking, terrible. And then let me pull this back out and wait. I'll just find it right here in front of you. Who cares? Yeah, and he dies there. It's pretty sad stuff. And look at this. That blood dripping down from the knuckles as he snits, He knew what it was. He knew who it was before they told him.
He can smell it, right? He knows.
And I forgot that like the purifiers are involved. Like all of the hateful white guys, like the hateful white guys.
I mean, yeah.
You got Donald Pierce, fucking what's his name? Fucking.
Is that where like Bastion brings back a bunch of those guys from the dead as like
he reanimates them using the techno-organic virus? Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. Yep, because he just keeps coming back himself. Look at these Dodson art. It's fucking great.
It's classy.
Some of this art was pretty awesome. Oh, he's mad. He's fucking mad.
The rage of Bub.
Then they get they're gonna do a funeral, right?
Yep.
As is warranted. Beast. It's funny to see Beast in this context where he's like, "Oh, this is yours. You own this now and forever." And he's all mad at him for doing unethical shit.
Right.
Like at Cyclops. I mean, like, okay, Beast. Where's this attitude like the last couple of years? But so yeah, here's what I wanted to, just because
Logan.
He hadn't said anything this whole time.
Right.
He's like, "Do you have anything you want to say?" And he says, "Yeah." As his fucking knuckles are bleeding and his pokies are sticking out. Kurt was the only guy that ever looked at me in the eyes like a man and spoke to me like one, and treated me like one, no matter what I did or where I was or how I felt. He was my best friend, and he never treated me like a damn animal. And yeah, I don't know. It's a powerful moment.
It really is.
It does pay proper respect to their friendship for sure.
Absolutely.
And now he's gone, and for what? You better be worth this. I swear to God, bub. All right, done there.
That's a great scene.
Indeed.
And now you can either apologize, or I'm gonna show you how intolerant I can be.
Yeah, it reminds me of now of these days, because like everything reminds me of it is in House of X Powers of 10, where they go to the first mother mold and like they all go down swinging, and like there's just so many cool bro moments, and you're like, fuck, all the X-Men are dead, what the fuck.
Oh yeah, there's like one after there's a 1-2 punch of Kurt and Wolverine. He's like,
dying back.
they
Yeah,
have to teleport out there, and he's like, hey, so what should a guy like me expect? And he's like,
Yep.
whatever, I'll be there for you no matter what. I'll be there waiting for you.
It's such a great scene.
And then whenever it happens, you got Cyclops looking out the window, and he goes, there goes the bravest man I ever knew.
Right.
Holy shit, man.
So good. All right.
Yep, bravest man I know.
Yep.
But also
such a great comic.
Anybody that's like kind of that Julia censored or whatever the fucking person that showed up, if you're still watching, or anybody that kind of agrees with that, I got a message for you.
Hey, bub, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Okay.
That's fair. Yeah, no, 2 votes.
All right. So what do we have left here?
I think all we have left is I was asked on Friday to tell a story about how Jordan Peterson is the reason I am transgender.
Oh, okay. Let's hear about that.
This is all your fault, Kermit. Okay, so back in gods, it must have been 2012, 2013. I had a friend, it was 2014, who was really, really fucking into Jordan Peterson.
Well, first you have to define Jordan Peterson.
He's a Canadian huckster.
Okay.
That's who sounds like Kermit the Frog. And this friend really bought into that like alpha male, traditional masculine thing. And he was convinced because I don't know how he convinced himself of this, but that I was like that based on what he had read from Jordan Peterson and those like him, that I was some sort of like ideal high testosterone male, alpha male sort of person.
Oh.
And my friend was convinced of this. And I was just like, I don't see it. But at the same time, because this friend was into Jordan Peterson, and this is about the time the C-16 Canadian, or it was a state in one of the provinces in Canada, had that C-16 bill.
Yeah, and it's gone on. Like, just so many people have gone to prison for misgendering people.
That they were everyone was going to jail for misgendering, was the whole like Jordan Peterson's whole fucking kerfuffle about that. And so this is how, like, I knew trans people were a thing, but from this friend is where I heard all these things about trans people. So I have this guy who's telling me how awful all these trans people are, and how, according to this Jordan Peterson guy, I am some sort of like alpha male. And I'm like, well, that one doesn't seem to be true, but I appreciate, your opinion, but I think you're wrong.
The vote of confidence, right?
I appreciate the vote of confidence, but I don't think you're right. And so I started looking into all of these things, and it was like, well, one, Jordan Peterson is wrong about everything, but two, upon considering his opinion, I think I'm trans. And that was like the first, like, wait a minute.
Holy shit. That's amazing. You're welcome.
So it's all Jordan Peterson's fault. Now, it took a while for me to come out and stuff and to really figure it out, but that was sort of like the first step in the process, was like hearing all this shit about Jordan Peterson. And it's just like, well,
yeah,
who knows where I'd be if some Jordan Peterson hadn't told me I was high T and also trans people were bad. And I'm just like, well, I don't know. Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Yeah.
It's a wild story.
I mean, honestly, like it's in a similar way, like big reason I'm atheist is because I was saved, baptized. You know,
Yeah,
when I was probably 17, I think. I was dating a girl who her father's a preacher, local nearby church, and they're pretty cool, like chill people and stuff. They weren't like overbearing about it or anything, but like I was hanging out at their house, play games and stuff, board games sometimes. And one night, we started talking about it because I mean, preachers, I think they're always just looking for the fucking, get their foot in the door on the topic. He's like, have you been saved by Christ? And I was like, no. So would you like to be? This is like just maybe a year and a half or so after my mom had died, and so it was like, there was some existential turmoil still within me. And I was like, sure, and I'd already had like not doubts, but I just thought that I had questions that I didn't nurture yet at that point about the things that I would hear about Christianity and stuff. It was just like, wait a second, you expect me to believe that like, the earth, this how old? Because I ended up going to a church that tried to teach some creationism shit. Anyway, so we did the thing right there in the living room where I got on his comfy fucking lazy boy recliner. He laid me back and they had just like a little thing of water put on my head, and he said some words, and I was like overcome with emotion.
Wow.
I was just like filled with this, just like, oh God, is this what it is? And it's like, and then it, almost like in the same instant that happened, I realized, wait, he's talking about like my mom. He's saying, hopefully his mother is, blah, blah, blah. Like, just appealing that shit. It's like, I'm not actually feeling anything other than just like some sadness because this guy is talking kind of like poetically about my dead mom.
Right.
And like saying all this stuff. And it's like, it's it just pretty much all in the same moment. That feeling drained away from me. And I was like, oh God, that's just nothing.
That's
just,
right. It's.
And I didn't understand it fully then, that it was like actually just, maybe I did, that it was really just like a chemical, reaction to emotionality and appeal to emotion and stuff. And it's like, but it definitely left me feeling fucking empty and like cynical about it immediately after. And I'm like, oh God.
Oh, I bet.
And from there, I just was like, I started entertaining those questions I had. So there you go.
I love museums.
I didn't mean to step on your story, but
no, you're good. I think it's actually a really good story. It's sort of a hollow, like when you take away all of the like sentimentality of it, like, will it really change? And you're like, well, fucking nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, I get that there's a vulnerability. I mean, that's really the thing, is like, I was vulnerable.
Right.
And I don't think that he was looking at it in some way. Like, he was a decent dude from what I understand. It's like, he wasn't like trying to exploit that, but that is functionally what happened.
Right.
That is what it is appealing to this vulnerable fucking, this trauma, this grief. And it's like,
right. This traumatized child whose mom just died.
Don't make fucking big life altering choices out of a sense of just a traumatized mind is a good general rule of thumb.
No, take your time. If it's worth making a life changing decision today, it's worth making it tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, Terrace. Like, I've been to church before, and I've experienced nothing but boredom in church.
Yeah, church is very boring.
But yeah,
the worst wedding I went to was a shotgun wedding, a very polite shotgun wedding, but they couldn't agree on whose service it was, so they compromised and did 2 religious services from both of the family pastors, and it was like 2.5 hours long, and their wedding vows were like, she's going to be his slave, and he's going to fund the child's well-being because she got knocked up.
The child,
yes, fucking Gogu or whatever his name is.
Yeah. So all right, we will end it right there, folks, because too much of a good thing, it's like too much cake. You don't want to have too much cake.
Don't want to overload on cake.
But let me see here what I was looking for, a thing real quick.
Yeah, and that way that like history is so much cooler than fiction in a lot of ways. And I think that Like, I can see a picture of a dragon, right? And that is, back we have to go to we've been trying to get back to the Field Museum, but back when they had Sue in the main atrium, and like this full-sized, almost complete skeleton of a T-Rex is there in front of you, and it's massive. And you're like, that was fucking real.
Well,
Big,
but
stompy chicken.
speaking of which, like, look, how strong is your faith really? When look, I don't know if you guys heard the news, but we got Burbage. Did you hear? We got Burbage.
No.
Oh yeah. Let me show you.
All right, show me. Each class.
Archbishop Michael Burbage. He's a Catholic archbishop, whatever the fuck that means. But he's been cited many times by John F. Trent over on Bounding into Comics, and he's said a lot of really fucked up shit about trans people and stuff, like as if he knows anything other than but we got him. We got him.
Pedocon?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. This is good news. This is good news. Got this announcement here. Waiting for it to load real quick.
All right.
And then we will end on this.
All right.
And hope you all have a lovely week and whatnot.
Yeah, we'll see you next Sunday. For me, Dane will see you throughout the week, of course, including on your secret producer streams if you follow him for free or for money on patreon.com.
Yep, did one of those yesterday. That was cool. All right, peace.
And I'm extremely honored to be your new bishop. This has such a wonderful reputation. Please know of my great excitement in coming to you soon, serve here. All of you are my heart and my prayers, and I ask that you transition.
May Bill Gaines shine his heavenly light upon you and impregnate you with many happy days and joy fetuses. May your anuses be cleansed by the purifying light that exudes from Bill Gaines' eternal dragon phallus. Should you meet your mortal demise this day, go with comfort that you have satisfied the commands of the one true Bill, those being this: read comic books. Fuck the dumb shit. Be yourself. Love each other. Also, read more comics and grow your hair out all goddamn while. Amen.
Actual fandom is not going to stop.